And a very good morning to you. It's just gone 11 o'clock. It is Friday, the 20th of August, 2021. And this is The Daily Show with him, Ross Kane, and with me, Phil Dave. Hi.
And today's edition of The Daily Show right here on MRS Men's radio station is brought to you by Smart Investments. Did you know that in the last year, the S&P 500, and that's, if you don't know, the index of the top 500 shares in the US, rose by 38%. Yet the banks and the pension funds found it really hard to give us 1%. That's right, 1%. That means that for £1,000 or $1,000 growing by 1% per annum, it would take, wait for this, 72 years to double. And that's without taking into account tax or inflation. Meanwhile, the investment club doubled its members' funds within the year. You can put in as little as £100 a month to much, much more. It's entirely up to you. Look, we can't guarantee continued growth at this rate, but we do expect it. Find out more and talk to our Smart Investment members. Visit www.smartinvestments.ai. Smart Investments, ordinary people, extraordinary wealth. Live well, have fun, retire early with smartinvestments.ai. There you go. That is it. Thank you to Smart Investments for sponsoring the show. Really do appreciate it. Let's go dashing up. What?
I was going to say, so thankful are we that we're going to have a chat to them in just a moment. And both of our smart investment men are in the waiting room, the digital green room. They're poised.
Are they looking smart?
No, a bit schlocky, to be honest with you.
Well, we're not going to call it schlock investments. We're going to call it smart investments. That's all there is to it. Let's go straight up to Edinburgh. And first out of the gate today for the 3-hour program is Veronica Curran, who says, good morning. Aye. Emma Webb, no idea how you talk, Em. I wonder. Oh, hello. Good morning. Right here for all me. Right here for all me. Phil, you're an intelligent man. You went to 7 schools.
Yes, I don't think that going to 7 schools was down to intellect. I feel that there was probably a bit of a fault behind that.
I was trying to pick you up, baby. We're going to have to go dashing up back to Scotland to Sue Sleet, who doesn't talk like that at all because she's not Scottish. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all have a great weekend. Highly unlikely in my case, Sue, but one can only dream of such a thing. And Michael Verby, the eternal, now, what is he, a tax exile now? He left Leeds. He said, I'm just popping over to see my sister Stacey in Spain. He's been there months now. Morning, boys. AXA next, is it? It might be. Who knows? Who wants to sponsor Men's Radio? We are open to all conversations. But Smart Investments, we had lots of chats with them, and they seem really good guys, and I like the offering, so it fits in.
But they just got in there first, to be honest with you. So
they saw the opportunity, Philip. They thought, let us ally ourselves with these 2 lunatics. What could go wrong?
Can you say lunatics in this day and age? I hope so, because I really like that word. I think it's a shame what it means. No, I think it's a shame what it means, but I actually quite like I just like saying it. It's one of those sort of bouncy words, isn't it? Like trampoline, lunatic.
It means push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull. It means that you're affected by the phases of the moon.
Well, quite.
That's hence lunatic. Emma Webb, I'm sorry for causing misunderstanding. Well, Emma, bring a note next time. Goodness sake. Goodness sake. Did you clean your shoes before you came out? Did you? At school, which was so strict, we had instant shoe in. I was at boarding school for 9 years. And sink or swim, of course. And I'd never been away from home before. I went when I was age 9. And if you weren't immaculate, you were in such trouble. So I can't attend a meeting, even to this day, if my shoes are dirty. If it means I'm a few minutes late, I will clean my shoes.
Too right.
It's true, though, isn't it? You'd have, oh, God. And we had to wear, you won't even know what I'm about to say. If you ever watch Poirot or anything.
Love Poirot.
They all wear.
You're going to say you had to wear brogues?
We did have to wear very special shoes with toe. We had to wear shoes with toe caps. You weren't allowed to wear. I got thrown out. I got thrown out of assembly, which is part of my one-man show gag. It's true, for wearing Italian shoes, which didn't have toe caps. They were literally thrown out. Crazy name. Crazy gal. Eve Phantom. Coolest name on the planet, isn't it? Emma Webb. Doc Martens. I live in Doc Martens. The whole of the winter, I live in my Doc Marten boots. I got Doc Marten. I
thought you meant the TV series for a second there.
I've never seen it. I've never seen Doc Marten.
You're missing out. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Is it good?
To me, Martin Clunes as Doc Marten is just the perfect fit because he's got the stature of a doctor. Because we had a doctor, I know this is going to come as a shock because the state I'm in, you wouldn't think so. We had a doctor when growing up, a guy called Dr. Michaels, and he was
a doctor of philosophy, or did he ever read a medical book? I've met
he was actually quite clever. I wonder where he is now. I know he retired. Hope he's okay. Anyway, he's very tall, very tall. Very, very tall, very broad stature, very sort of it almost intimidating chap. I have to tell you, as a child, going to see him was terrifying because he was so, not big as in overweight, fat. but big as in like sort of really broad, just a very well built individual. Hey. But he was really, really nice chap. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So yeah, but that Doc Marten reminds me of Martin Clunes is the perfect build for.
You were scared of seeing your doctor. Imagine.
Well, I thought he was going to have me dealt with, to be honest.
What neutered, just in case you decided to have kids. Just imagine when he looked at his appointment book and he thought, "Oh God, the Dave family, they're bringing in that kid." I bet. Did you think his heart sank or his heart soared? What do you think?
Interesting question. I'm fairly sure it wasn't soared. Maybe somewhere in the middle.
Maybe it was just like, "Oh Christ." The mum's nice. I mean, he would have
maybe it's sunk because that's sword and sank.
What was that word again? You've just invented it. I like it.
Sonk.
His heart sunk, which is
by the way
participle of. Okay, go on.
I was trying to see whether or not she's connected yet, but I don't think she has, which is why I was holding back from saying this. But am I permitted to say a very happy birthday to my mother, who is, well, I'm not going to say how old she is.
You just said it, you did.
But it's her birthday today, so I thought many happy returns, Mama.
Is she what, 45, 46?
Yeah, let's go with that, yes.
I think she's 47 tops. Because you're what, 11?
Yes.
Child labour. Look, be honest, I rescued you because you were cleaning chimneys when I first met you.
It's true. I did have to brush up my career.
You were consider yourself. Oh, that's the wrong one. No, I wanted Mary Poppins. The other one. Barry J. Allen. We haven't got the.
That was it. Step in Time. That was it. Step in time. Step
in time. Marvelous. He's still going. He's still singing. Dick Van Dyke. He's 183 and he's fantastic. Ramsey Wymer-Salem. Good morning, boys. Good morning to you. Alexandra Lichtenfeld.
Morning.
How do I look? Do I look all right?
Oh, I've given up on that front.
Hi, Alex. How are you? Okay. Barry J. Allen's late again. Sorry, all. Barry, it's so sweet they're even there. Now, Doc Martens, Emma Webb. Great choice. Great choice. They're just the best. They're indestructible. I wear
my Doc Martens are sparkling. What happened? Did you step in glitter or something?
You can get glittery. Doc Martens.
Can you?
See, Nat, that's your new shoe, isn't it? Knowing you, purple and glitter, right up your
sleeve. I would strongly suggest that it's not like me to dress beyond the sort of vintage 20s look, but or maybe 50s actually. But at the same time, and when I say 20s, by the way, I don't mean the 2020s either.
No, because that sucks. God Almighty, what a year! just people are so exhausted. People are just absolutely exhausted, and they see the little glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, no, it's the train coming the other way. I keep trying to check if we're going to have another third wave and everything like that, and
that's my second one.
You're an idiot, and it's nice you do it professionally. It's good. So it's just a situation of people can hang on. Oh, hang on. Wow, I clean my Doc Marten boots with polish, my darling boys. Mwah.
Now was that an e-wahaha, or was that a mwah as in a sloppy wet kiss?
No, it's like mwah. She's very showbiz, Emma Webb. I have no idea
I
what
thought
she does.
so.
No idea what she does for a living, but we can just assume she's probably the lead in Miss Saigon or something. What?
Oh.
What? Lonely saxophone. As I said in one of my tweets, even now Andrew Lloyd Webber is writing Miss Kabul. He's just got to update the lyrics a little bit, take it out of Saigon, shove it in Afghanistan. It's the same bloody musical, isn't it? Same thing. Unbelievable. What absolute. It's very, very. If you, I try not to get into politics because it's like swimming through a sewer, and they're all disgusting. Let's be honest about it. They're all horrible.
Quite. I think it's probably more appropriate if rather than writing Miss Kabul, he probably writes Missed the Mark or something like that.
Or Missed Again. Or Mistake.
Hey, Mistake. That's the
Mistake.
one.
Hey. Write that one down.
You'll be treading the boards before long. I'll be cleaning them.
Yeah, the boards over the side of the pirate ship. Hurry. Why is it everyone becomes Robert Newton when they talk about pirates? Pirates probably they didn't all come from Dorset. Not every pirate in the blooming world came. There's one village produces pirates. Probably another one produces pilots.
You say that.
I don't know. Anyway, that's not the point. There's some really interesting commentaries that this. I know we're having our sponsors on. We're going to have a good chat. There's a lot I want to talk about, but.
Well, they're looking suitably horrified, as if to say, what the heck have we done here? But anyway, it's fine.
I went to their chemist shop for years. They can just park it for 5 minutes. So,
wow.
Warman Freed, come on. Greatest chemist in the world.
That put the boots in.
For years, Warman Freed. Now, in Golders Green Road. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these heavyweight political commentators are saying, what happened at Kabul? And just those scenes at the airport, that marks the end of America's power as the number one nation. That's it. And I think there's a lot to support that view. I really do. I think the worldview. Phil, you are the Niles Crane of men's radio.
How rude. I'd rather be the Fraser, but whatever.
That's hilarious.
Hang on a second. Niles is the younger brother. I'm not his younger brother.
Oh, Michael, I love that. The Niles Crane of men's radio. I've never thought of that. Niles, I'm having a sophisticated party tonight, and I was wondering whether you want to attend. Oh, Fraser, I'd be delighted. All of that. It's just marvelous. Do you remember? I mean, there's so many brilliant lines in that. And, you know, their apartment is so she because there's such snobs, the pair of them. And then the father comes, played by that wonderful actor who passed away a couple of years ago. He was from Manchester. Did you know that? The guy played the dad. He was British. He was from Manchester. And
didn't know he was from Manchester. I think I had a rough idea at the back of my mind he was British.
No, he's from Manchester. Isn't that fantastic? You'd never guess. And he had this horrible chair, but it was very comfortable. And he was, and Fraser had been boasting how his apartment was eclectic, you know. And then they said that it's got to go, Dad, the chair's got to go. It's clashing with all the thing. And he just turns around and goes, but it's eclectic.
Oh, that was it. John Mahoney. Couldn't remember his name.
John Mahoney. Absolutely marvelous. The Niles Crane of men's right. That's killed me. That's absolutely. That's so
well, in that case, we're going to need some more content. Thank goodness our sponsors are standing by, looking mildly horrified at what lies before them. So a very warm welcome to Simon and Jeff.
Forward to
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Best thing I've been looking forward to for minutes.
Say that one again. You've been what?
It's the thing I've most looked forward to in the last 5 minutes. It's great.
Wow. Well, good
can't
to
say
see
fairer
you
than that.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for dropping by. Anyway, Emma Webb says John Mahoney, fab as Martin Crane in Frasier. The show is returning. Oh no, don't do that. Do you go? No, I know that. And this is not why you're here. But don't you think some things, when they're finished, they'll just be left. They're never as good as you remember.
Absolutely.
Never look back.
Totally so. Never look back, because your expectations, it's so many people over the years have said, oh, are you ever going to get back with Chris Tarrant? you know, are you going to ever do another breakfast show? It would be fantastic. And both Chris and I look at
Normally,
each other
when they hear me on this show, they say, please go back with Chris Tower.
Go away, Phil. Do whatever you got to do. Go back to hair and makeup. I tell you why, because it was of its time. And we had 20 fantastic years. It was wonderful, but you could never meet the expectations. That's the point why I'm saying this. You could never meet the expectations of people from, you know, I finished doing it in 2004. All those years ago, started in 1984. They were kids or people were at school, and your memory changes, you change. Now, talking of meeting expectations, how's everything going at Smart Investments? See how I segued that in.
Yeah. Smoothly done.
Up here for thinking, down there for dancing.
It continues to go very well, thank you. What is it since we last spoke? A month, is it?
It's a month.
Yeah, it's a month.
You guys are on a monthly basis.
There's all sorts going on. We continue to bring in more members. We had a very successful webinar, and we're now letting people work with us as partners. They're bringing new members in too and earning a lot of money doing it. So it's going very, very well.
So
stock market's as high as it's ever been. Profits are there. It's okay.
Is that right? Because everyone you see, if you don't follow the stock market, and to be honest, I don't, because it's a world of mystery to me. Everyone assumes that everything must be depressed as we all are, but it's not.
No,
the stock market.
I was working with some of the members last night, looking at the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the American markets. And it is literally at the highest it's ever been in its whole life. So, and the trajectory is very strongly upward. It's not sort of flagging about in the wind or anything. It's just going up.
And for those who don't know, S&P is it Standard & Poor's? Am I making that up?
Standard & Poor's, which is actually a rating company. Very
well done, Russ.
Where the hell did I dig that up from? Wow.
Yeah.
You do research.
Their main job in life is to be a credit rating company, but they also keep
the
this
thing about it is I'm never quite as stupid as I pretend. Now, for those who don't know, because I really like when we were talking about this, and I thought I really liked the offering these guys. Most people think, wait a minute, I'm going to be really rude for a second, because they go, oh no, I don't, what is this? What is this? You know, you invest some money, you get more in you know what I mean? You must have had that conversation a lot of times.
Many times, but it's just how it works. People do look gift horses in the mouth. But if you look at the history of basically any of the stock markets, they've only gone in one direction. There are blips and dips, but even in the 1928 great crash in America, within 18 months or so, it was back on track. And there are a lot of people in the world.
I didn't know that.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I thought it flatlined for years.
Just hung on. But anyway, I wasn't there to tell them. Even I wasn't there to tell them.
Even you.
So a lot of people have made a lot of money for a long, long time from the stock markets. And we, as sort of ordinary members of the public, are not even allowed to do many of the trades. So, for example, the best ones that we use, you have to have an account worth at least $25,000 before you're allowed to do what we call put option trading. But by collecting together, people even putting in a small amount, which for us is £100 per month, I know that's still a lot of money for some people, that allows us collectively to use those trades and to make money like the big guys. But the big guys, if you're going to buy sort of 5% of Marks and Spencer's or something, you can't buy it today, sell it tomorrow, buy it back again the following day. All you can do really is buy it and hang on to it and hope that it goes up. Whereas we have got about 20 different things we can do with such a trade. So we don't worry about the fact that we don't have super fast computers. Ordinary computers are great for us. Thank you very much. We don't need to take the best sort of Oxford and Cambridge graduates. Basically, anyone can do it if they learn how to do it. And our members, they don't even have to do it. About a third of them come along and attend every meeting and watch us like hawks, which is good. Keeps us on our toes. About a third come along occasionally, and about a third we never ever see. All they do is enjoy the money. Obviously, they get statements and things, but they're very, very passive.
And because people are going, okay, I might be willing to, because I'm gonna come along with you guys. I decided that I'm gonna, I think it's only fair that if I'm suggesting to the listeners, look, listen to these guys, that I should try it myself. And,
we do have a door policy.
I'm not wearing trainers.
You won't get in.
One of my twins went to a club a few years back, and the bouncer on the door goes, "Oi, no bubbles." And he went, "I'm sorry?" Went, "No bubbles." And I said, "What does he mean?" He said, "Well, I was wearing Nike Air Max, and they're just called bubbles. You can't. Oi, no bubbles." There you go. There's the link.
I thought it was chewing gum.
I remember one of my sons failing to get into a nightclub because he had white trainers on. He got round that. He simply took his socks off and put them over his trainers. End of. Got in.
Genius. Did they let him in? That's hilarious.
That's
hilarious. Now, if you invest with you guys, and then I want to talk about some other things specifically because I'm hoping you can help me with something.
Smart investments.
If you can invest with smart investments, as it says behind Simon's head very clearly for everybody, if you invest with smart investments and you think, you know what, I suddenly need this extra money, something's happened, whatever it might be, leaky roof, whatever it is, you can get out. I mean, you're not locked in. I think most people have a fear, Jeff, that you're locked in.
The trades that we do, it's not sort of day trading, so it's not buy now, sell an hour later or tomorrow. Most of the trades that we do last for about 3 months. So what we say is formally, we want people, if they want money out, to give us a couple of months' notice, which is fine. However, in the accounts, the trading accounts, we normally have a lot of cash. So I mean, the one that was in last night, there was $440,000 of cash. So in practical terms, I would never stop someone accessing their money if they needed it. We would just do it. It's there. But I just have a safety net that if we needed to, I wouldn't want to sell something in a state of distress in order to get money out for someone. So I'd have to sort that out. But it's never happened. We've never not been able to give any money instantly. But that's because no one's taken any money out anyway. They just
let it roll.
Why
they just let it roll. And do you get monthly statements, or what's the deal? Because I know people are saying, okay, how does this
via Zoom, so everyone gets to see what's going on. And as well as that, we get a trading account statement comes in from the States. So that's, we can't doctor that. It just comes straight from the States and goes out to the members. But we also produce a dashboard based on that, which is a lot more user-friendly. So we send that out as well. And even the meetings, people don't necessarily have to attend them. Everyone is recorded, video recorded, so that is, it's like a minute of the meeting, but it's a visual record of it. And they all go on the website. So that one, allows people to catch up, and two, keeps a record of the decisions we've made. So if there's any dispute over them, we could actually go back and say, you didn't say that. I did.
And I think you've got to have that these days.
Yeah,
you have to. It makes absolutely perfect sense. Now,
but I think Russ, just to say something, I think what's really important for people to think about is this is very much like a high return savings account. So people can drop money in any time if they've got a bit of spare cash or whatever. You're able to drop that in then. And as we sort of talked about getting the money out, you can get that out relatively easily. So it's quite a flex. We try to make it as flexible for the needs and the requirements of our members. So it's not an inflexible system. You can put as much or as little in.
Specific, So I mean, it might be a car or a deposit for a house. They just work towards that, and they know when they're going to need it. The amounts of money we're talking about. So it's easy enough. It works.
Well, I think the best thing, and I've been thinking about this, is I'm going to give it a go. And I'm not just saying that. I am going to give it a go for 2 reasons, 3 reasons. One, I've been talking to Simon a lot before I met you, Jeff, and I like what I heard. So I want to do it personally. But more importantly, I think before we say to anybody else that, I can be personal little litmus test
absolutely.
as well. So I think that's a decent. You got to walk the walk, and
well, my advice, I mean, we're quite happy, and people do put 100,000 in, even 500,000 in sometimes. But I think it's very sensible to start small and to watch it, track it, get to know us, get to know other members, and you do get to speak to all of the other members. They're all in WhatsApp groups, and that's not moderated. You can ask anything in there, or lasso out any random individual member and ask them how it's going. Just get to know us, and then if you want to put more in, you do it that way.
And if any of the audience are interested, we're happy to invite them to our monthly meetings. We've just had the one so that they can experience what goes on, they can see what goes on, and they can be invited to the WhatsApp groups as well, so they can ask questions. So we offer that in advance of anybody wishing to join anyway, as a way of engaging with us and seeing and talking to other members to get feedback, so that they gain a level of comfort that they're
that's
happy
very
with
good.
what we're doing.
I like that. Now,
it all happens at Smart Investments with an S on it, smartinvestments.ai.
You went on a marketing course.
The recording of the recent webinar.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we put him on a marketing course last week.
Jeff, I didn't quite catch that. Was it smartinvestments.ai? Because I don't think you said it enough.
Ask Simon, that was his idea.
You just haven't plugged it quite enough. Now, here's the thing. Coming up in September, I'm doing an entire week of the Daily Show dedicated to dementia and Alzheimer's. And the reaction has been absolutely phenomenal. And I can tell you that my first guest, within 24 hours of me announcing this, within 24 hours, my first guest is Glenn Campbell's daughter. The great Glenn Campbell, his daughter who looked after him, is going to be one of my first guests. It's going to be an extraordinary week. Now, one of the things, and I'm just dumping this on you, is this. When you have the unfortunate situation of having a relative that you have to look after with dementia, and they have to go into a care home, or they have to have round-the-clock care at home, it's incredibly expensive. And one of the aspects that I would like to cover, and I'm wondering whether you, with your expertise, this could be you, is how on earth you can plan for this, because it is so brutally expensive. And I know my mum had dementia for 16 years, and it virtually wiped us out financially. Just looking, 16 years, and much of that in the care home. It was just ferocious,
devastating. But people generally overestimate how much money they need in order to be able to get the money that they need to live from month to month. So if you ask most people, look, how much you need in order to get the money out that you need, and $1 million or 2 million, it's just not the case. We're producing around 6% per month. So if you've got 100,000 in, that is 6,000 a month. 200,000 is 12,000 a month. That generally will cover the vast majority of situations. But obviously 100,000 or 200,000 is a lot of money.
It's huge.
It is a huge amount of money. But we are talking about 6% per month compound. So if you, even with a small amount of money, over 5 or 10 years, you can get to that sort of level absolutely without a problem at all. So although it takes a bit of time and a bit of planning and a bit of thinking through, you can get there. And it's a far better scheme than the government have got.
Well,
the government are ever going to come up with either.
It is awful because, I think people think, oh, I'll get a grant, or I'm going to get help from the council, I'm going to get this and that. And you're looking at around, and we'll be discussing this at length during the Dementia Week, but this is like $4,000 a month. Could be more. And you've got to find that money. You just got to find the money.
And the problem is there's a physical cost, and then there's sort of the consequential cost for people, the stuff that that necessarily the grants don't cover.
No.
And that could be people having to give up their time from working, so they reduce their salaries and things like that. They're not necessarily compensated for all these things that go around it. So it's really important to try and make sure that you've got that coverage across all the cost base, as opposed to just the physical cost of having a carer in, or the home itself.
And that's without all the emotional cost, which is incalculable.
Oh, absolutely.
Why is, I'm going to ask Simon.
It's not something I've thought through, Russ, but especially if there was a property involved. So if someone was going into care and a property was there to be sold, instead of that property just being sold and ebbing away on a monthly basis, the money could actually go into investment, and it would easily produce more than enough to pay for the care home and to keep growing and to still be there at the sad end to the process.
Which is also very important, because the problem when you sell a house is you don't know how long the person's going to live, and therefore you run out of money quite often. Yep. And that is a really difficult situation. So this way, you're able to have know that for the life of the person who's a loved one, you will be able to keep them in the manner in which you want them to be kept, as comfortable as possible. And then at the end of it, you still got your lump sum sitting there, which you can distribute across whoever is entitled to have that.
You wouldn't even have to use the whole proceeds, or if the house wasn't even fully paid for, 80 or 90,000 invested would pay that 4,000 a month, and be enough so that the capital kept growing to cover inflation, and at the end of it, it's still there.
It's so it is important. And of course, the other thing is that a lot of people think, well, I don't know anything about investments, I don't know what to do, and their life's in a tailspin anyway, because suddenly their mum, their dad, could be their husband or wife, sister, brother, whatever, has got this horrible illness, and it you can't think clearly. You're sort of scrabbling around. So a little pre-planning, which is what that's why I want to introduce this. Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask Simon this. Why can you? We understand how you operate and can do it. Why are the banks so rubbish?
Well, the banks are rubbish.
Why are the banks so? I mean, their return rates. They apologize. I mean, they're actually apologizing to people. I think I said that before. Why?
Because
why can't they be like you guys?
Because they work on pre-done deals. Trust me, the banks are making a load of money.
Of course, the banks always make bloody fortunes. I know that.
I was looking into the regulatory side of things in terms of companies that operate these schemes. And number one, in order to get even half a decent return, let's say something like 15%, you as an individual, if you're an individual, got to have something like about £500 million to play, right? And
whoa, rewind there, Simon Warmanfried. What? Say that again slowly, because you just hit me with a number.
£500 million, right? And you go to a bank to get these particular schemes, and the bank can still turn around and say, no, we don't want to accept this. So the majority of people don't have access to it. This is why we're giving people access to something in terms of high returns, even at the £100 level, that no one can access elsewhere, because they don't allow you to access it. You don't play in that game, and they give you what the minimum required to try and justify the fact that you should get some return out of it. But at the moment, they're not even doing that.
I think last year, if you just bought like the FTSE or the stocks that make up the FTSE or the stocks that make up the S&P 500 and left it for a year, you would have made about 17%. So the banks can do that, and they do a lot more than that. So my answer is that the banks are greedy. That's straightforwardly it. They've got overheads, they've got ridiculous salaries, but what has happened to the 17% that brings it down to 1% or less for the person in the street?
That's the thing. 16% is going up in smoke. This is what really, really bugs me. I hate banks. I'll be honest. Banks are, my dad had the best definition of a bank. They lend you an umbrella in the summer. As soon as it starts raining, they want their umbrella back. That's what my dad used. That's how he described banks.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, let me ask you something else, because you've got your fingers on the pulse, and this affects people, all our listeners all over the world, because I think it's a global thing, and it affects our mental health, as far as I'm concerned. All right, you want to pop to a bank to, I don't know, put in a check if everyone still writes checks anymore, or draw some, something like that. All the banks are being closed. All the banks are being closed and turned into wine bars or some crap. What? Do they really want it? Because you would know better than we would know. Do they really want us all online?
Absolutely. Not only do they want us all online, and I actually think a wine bar is more useful than a bank, but there we go. They also want...
We have a better time.
Certainly more pleasurable, yeah.
They
Jeff, you can't
altogether.
nick the pens. You can't nick the pens in the wine bar.
They don't even want us to have cash, never mind a branch.
Is this because, and this is another thing, this cashless society, is it because they just want to track us? They don't want any cash floating around in what they would call the black economy. Why are they pushing this? Why is this great reset? Why?
Controversial, but with me, I start with the word greed and then apply it to the circumstance. And in the case of cash, it is cheaper for the banks to not deal with cash.
Explain why.
You need a branch.
Yeah. Hang on, say that again, because you
Sorry, I'm saying,
so
if someone's going to bring a bag of money in to deposit, then you need a branch or somewhere to do it.
Right. Did somebody just say bag of money?
I don't. Yeah.
Go away, greedy little twerp. You see, this is the thing. But what are we supposed to do? Because not all people are computer literate. Not everybody wants to be online. Some people I know won't even have a bank account. They settle everything. Do they just want to? It's just purely because they don't want the staff.
They don't want the staff. They don't want the costs.
They don't want the costs. Yeah.
But so we rely for this. We rely on protection by the government. So that'll be all right, won't it?
Obviously, because every government's always fabulous. They're always great. Actually, and have our interests at heart.
True. It's not quite true. One of the banks in the last week has been fined for closing branches that they promised not to close.
Well, I'm thinking of my in my little area, the local, all the banks have gone. I actually have to get on a train if I wanted to go to it. I have to get on a train for a few stops to find my nearest branch. Yeah. That's completely unacceptable. But do you remember? It wasn't long ago. I mean, you guys are of an age. You'll remember the advert. Our routes past your branches, or your routes past our branch.
Was it on the bank branch?
Oh.
Do you know the great thing, boys? The great thing is when he's not on screen, I always assume, and I hope and pray, he's just gone to another building. And he's kind of like an evil imp that just is there the whole time. Somewhere between God and an evil imp. That's where he is. It's a real thing, isn't it? But what about older people? Because what about, someone calls them the silver tops. You can call them whatever you like. I can talk. But they don't want to be on a computer. They don't trust a computer. Why would we trust a computer? We don't. We like human interaction.
The banks don't care. The banks don't care. And the justification for most of this, the reasons why they're trying to do it, as Jeff rightly said, it's all about greed, cost reduction, but they're using anti-money laundering as the reasons why they want to do all this, so that they can check where the monies have come from, see the whole, end-to-end transaction. If you get more than 5,000 in your bank, an alert goes up into your account, and they go and they check that. They might come back. Some of the banks stop transactions going out and question you on, where you're sending this money, or do you know where you're sending it? This sort of stuff. It's all so the explanation behind why they want to get rid of everything is because they want everything online, and it's all about money laundering. But in reality, they're saving loads of money and loads of cost and loads of staff.
Do you think, because you must have looked into this, because you guys obviously future plan, do you think they eventually, the idea of walking into a branch, it's just going to go? I think it's
definitely
pretty much,
yeah. I mean, they might have one branch,
post offices or something.
Yeah, or they might have one branch, or the very, very odd branch to deal with big business and stuff like that. They might have the odd one, but branches are a thing of the past. It's just a matter of time, really.
And they're just going to get rid of those staff. They're not going to put those staff into another department. I don't know, whatever it might be, the hairdressing department or something. I don't know, but they're not, are they? They're just going to shape them off.
It's jobs as well as the branches going. Absolutely, those jobs will never return. So
let me ask you this, because it comes right back to your offering. Your USP is you've explained it. You've set out your stall, I think, very, very nicely. And Ramsey says, "I'm signing up right now," and I don't think he's being postmodern ironic. I think he's probably going to sign up. Now, how are they going to convince us to stick with a bank or swap over to another? And I'm not interested in looking at Ant and Dec on TV, because they're just paid people. That's not going to convince me to look after my money. They're multi-millionaires. I don't give a shit.
The bank adverts really, really annoy me. There's one that shows a woman, and it's sort of, she ages through the advertisement, and eventually.
Yes, I mean, how long is it taking her to get to that house? That freaks me out. That advert. I was a copywriter. Hang on, I've got to tell you, I was a copywriter both here in London and on Madison Avenue in New York, right? So adverts are my thing, and I find that one, I can't remember the name of the product. I know it's a bank, but I couldn't tell you which one, so it's failed straight away. Number two is this: what the hell were they thinking? She sets off in a car. She looks about 35, 40 years old. She arrives. She looks 65 years old. You think, how bad was the traffic? What the hell?
No, it's the banks that make you
weird.
It's the banks that make you age. It's not the traffic.
I presume, has she been in the queue? Has she been at the queue at the bank for 25 years?
Well,
I mean, what the hell's going on?
She could be, but if you look at it this way, I think I've given this figure before, 72. So if you have a 1% interest rate, you take 72 and divide it by whatever interest rate you've got, and that's how long it takes to double. So if she was 72 years old and had £1 in when she was 1, it would now be worth £2. So how on earth does that finance her retirement? And that's without inflation and without tax.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And Ramsey says you might want to look at your website. He's already, during this conversation, he's already gone onto your website. We don't hang around on Men's Radio. They're already looking at your website, and that's all good stuff. It's the other thing that gets me mad, and it's about my mental health as well, because I sit there getting annoyed. It's like, we're with you all the way. It's this thing that really care. They couldn't give a shit, frankly, what happens. As long as they've got your money, and the moment you want it back, it's not quite,
But no, but it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that, because where people get into debt or their circumstances change and they're suddenly in a bad situation, they've lost their job, and the banks start going for them straight away. So we're with you. Oh no, we're not. We're with you when you've got money or when you need money and you qualify for it. We're with you all the way there. But as soon as you get to a negative situation, they're at you straight away. They really don't help.
The other thing, of course, we want banks to do is to finance jobs and company startups and growth and employment. And they're not very good at that either. So they're killing off the jobs.
Tell me about it.
And they're not doing what they should be doing to create more jobs.
Yeah,
it's really interesting, because when my business partner Howard Jameson and I, obviously we've done all of this from a standing start, women's radio station, the way we're trying to expand it and give back and everything. Have we had any support?
No,
none whatsoever. So if it wasn't for our determination, along with Penny Horner, and putting our own money in, etc., to get everything going, and the members of the team that we've got, etc., who don't work for nothing, and the banks who always say we've got a corporate social responsibility. Oh, we do. We believe. No, they don't.
But do you know what really annoys me about the banks? You know what really annoys me about banks? If you want to borrow, like a business over here, they want to get your mortgage. They want to tie you down on personal guarantees and God knows what else. But they'll go and invest in foreign countries without any guarantees, high risk, spend millions of pounds in that. And there's but for local people, you have to basically put your house on the line and personal guarantee.
I'm going to tell you something very nice, Simon and Jeff. Ramsey's a very smart guy. And he says, so this is it, because you can't BS anymore. And you won't know what I won't let people BS on Men's Radio, because it's against everything I stand for. The overall security rating of their site is A, according to Qualys. So don't panic. There you go.
Very nice.
So this is a very smart bunch of people who watch and listen to this show. They're not, you can't flim flam them. They can smell it a mile off. They can smell BS.
But it's really important because we sell on trust, and I don't mean sell in the traditional net, but I mean people deal with us because of trust, and that's the thing, and then we deliver. And so, we're very open, we're very honest. We talk to people, we engage with people, worry, look at their concerns and so on and so forth. We understand it. And, at the end of the day, people have worked really hard, whatever level of cash they've got available.
Yes.
They've worked really, really hard. And the last thing they want to do is give it away or throw it away.
Here's the thing, guys, and it comes back to our conversation just a few minutes ago. You are the faces of your company. It's your company, and you're both saying, here we are, I'm Simon, I'm Jeff, this is who we are, you know how to reach us, etc. With a bank, you never deal with, you never ever deal with the same. Who the hell are you dealing with? You don't know who you're dealing with. I could be dealing with the plumber, I don't know.
But it's the same.
We know all of our members personally. There's 160, 170 of them, whatever it is. We know them all personally. They've got our telephone numbers. They've got our home addresses. They've got our email addresses. They see us and can contact us through WhatsApp anytime, and they do.
Yeah, and I think that's the really important thing with investing with us compared to all other forms of investment. Normally, when you do most of your investing, you get a letter once a year that tells you good, bad, or indifferent news. And oh, by the way, your fees have been taken out irrespective, right? With us, you get regular communication. So Jeff, because he's the radio star, he does a weekly video that goes out to the members of the group, so they'll get updated. We do a monthly where everybody comes on Zoom. We're available and accessible for Zoom calls, or if somebody has any questions or concerns, we make ourselves available to our members so that they feel comfortable, confident, and they're happy. And touch wood. And I've never been in any other business before where I can put hand on heart and say we have 100% member satisfaction. No one.
Fantastic.
And a lot of it is obviously down to the success of the delivery of the numbers, but a lot of it is just down to the way we engage with people and the fact that we are there, and we, they feel they can talk to us and ask anything and so on. And that's,
it's generally instant as well. If someone asks a question, answer it. And we go out of our way to make sure that it's a clear answer, not waffle.
Ambiguous, yeah.
That is it. Listen, guys, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in 4 weeks.
4 weeks, lovely.
I don't know where the time. I don't know where. How's the weather where you are, Simon? By the way, can annoy me. Is it fabulous?
Annoy you. It's about 30 degrees today, but at the last weekend it was 41.
Okay.
And by the way, straight away, Ramsey was not being silly. He says definitely in on this. Going to do the monthly thing to kick it off. So there you go.
Thank you very much, Ramsey.
Listen, thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Thank you again.
As soon as you start talking about the weather, very much like the banks, we start to lose interest. Gents, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much, Phil. Cheers.
Bye-bye. You were rehearsing that, weren't you? That was very good. As soon as you
I was waiting for the right time to say it, and I thought to myself, I've got to be very careful because these lovely gentlemen are our sponsors, and I can't be too rude, even though I'm not backwards and going forwards. At the same time, I thought to myself, could I just say, okay, I'm starting to lose interest now like the banks? I thought, nah, that would be a bit too harsh.
No, you can't say that because I'd have to come around and punch you.
Oh.
And I mean that in a loving, caring way.
But I have to tell you, in such a large building, you'd have to find me first.
I'd find you. Well, all I'd do is go to the top floor. Remember, I'm 2 stops away. You think you're miles away and safe, right? I could pretend I have to answer the door, be there in 12 minutes, and just find you.
I mean, arguably, you could be here quicker than you could be at the bank.
Served at the bank. Hey, listen, your mum. It's your mum's birthday today, and everyone's wishing her a happy birthday. So I would like to wish Linda Dave a very, very happy birthday. We don't normally do that. It's a bit Radio Norwich, but We were banned from doing that eventually on Capital. Banned from wishing people happy birthday.
Oh, too right. It's terrible.
Because you know why? It's very interesting. I had a little sympathy for it because for the person who's involved, they go, "Oh, did you hear on the show? They wished, Fred
Doesn't mean
Smith
anything
happy
to
birthday."
anyone else.
It's absolutely meaningless to the other 4 million people listening. They don't care it's somebody else's birthday, but we do care it's Linda's birthday because she's your mum and we like her. And I've met her and she's very, very charming. Chrissy Holt,
you must have caught her on a good day then.
No, I'm just not her son.
Oh,
that's why she was nice to me. Yeah, I had a nice day yesterday. I did something which I've been planning for a while, but it's difficult when you got kids who are grown up. And I went out for lunch with twin one, and it was lovely. It was really nice. I haven't had like a day off per se. I didn't have a day because I had to work. I worked 2 a.m. I'm still standing at my desk dealing with it's just ridiculous. But it was so nice to just have the time to just sit with my one of the guys, and went to Soho. Hello. And he'd found a restaurant he wanted to go to. His eyes were bigger than his tummy, so we took 50% of the food in the bag. So he's eaten that for the next two days.
I have to tell you,
it was really good. You'd like it there, by the way, Phil.
No, I have to. Well, I'm interested because as soon as you said Japanese restaurant, my ears pricked up. But I did have to suggest, though, I don't think that he's as daft as you're making out. I don't think it's anything to do with eyes being 50% bigger than the stomach. Don't you realize he was just trying to save himself a meal for the next day? Perfect. That's what I do.
Got me. He's so blimming. He's so blimming smart. He got a first, as you know. Just got a first.
Silly Billy.
And it's interesting. You know what the best bit was? The best bit. And it's funny, as a parent, you do take pride saying, I introduced him to people. It was lovely. But the best bit, he drove home.
Oh.
Because he's insured on my car, so I just said, and you are driving me home, and that's
you overindulged on the sake, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously. Sake, and then a very nice dram with George Mickey up at the Soho Whiskey Club, and there was only just me and twin one there, and it was very nice. I really enjoyed it. And then we went to look at bicycles. We went to this particular bike shop.
Steady on, Martley. What do you mean?
Well,
bicycles in pedal bicycles, or is it
manicure and pedicure bicycle? Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Motorbike. No, he's about to take his ultimate because he's a big motorbike person, and he's going to take his test soon, and then he can buy any bike in the world, anything at all, because he's fully qualified to do that. But no, they're bloody expensive, aren't they, bicycles?
Oh, yes.
They're like crazy money.
Yes, very overpriced for what they actually are.
And have you ever tried to pick up... There's a point to this, because I drive everywhere. I just prefer... I wanted to drive. People said, why didn't you take it? Because I wanted to have the time to talk to him. We had things to discuss. And it's much nicer in a car. You got a nice environment. Just have a proper conversation. And so... I don't know what Sadiq Khan is doing, but man, yesterday, every road was dug up in town. I mean, crazy. Shaftesbury Avenue, they're ever going to open Shaftesbury Avenue again? It's been closed for weeks. What's that
No,
about?
it's now known as Shafted Avenue.
You're so right. But you know that area. You can't drive up there. It's one of the main thoroughfares of central London. They've closed Warwick Street, which goes off Glasshouse Street and Eyre Street. That's completely dug up. I mean, what are they? Building another airport at Piccadilly or something. What the hell are they doing?
Well, of course, the low traffic neighbourhoods, which is what a lot of this boils down to, is the LTNs, as they're known.
Yes, bollocks. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Do you know I didn't know what LTN stood for? I thought it was a London Transport something. Low traffic neighbourhood.
Yeah, low traffic neighbourhood, although I would have thought more appropriately low life total nonsense. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. At the same time with the LTNs, are you quite well?
No, I'm just thinking you're just giving it both barrels. I'm loving it.
Oh, I see. Well, I thought it was worth a shot. Thank you. Anyway,
best Chrissy, to gauge your comments.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very good. Chrissy Holt says, "Hi boys, cooler 36 today. Good grief. Onion soup 36. My goodness me. Onion soup for lunch. Well, Mike is going to have a lot
I'd leave
of
the
fun
windows
later.
open. I'd leave those windows open.
Strike up the brass band. Right. Anyway. Stuff and nonsense. Anyway.
I've not heard that before. It's killing me. Emma Webb says, "Happy birthday, Linda. 21 today. Have a lovely day, sweetie."
Ah, Emma, I am perfectly sure my mother would be very pleased to hear you say that, and I will say thank you on her behalf because I know she'll thank you.
I'm not that I ever put you on the spot, Phil, but
no, as if.
What I mean, I would never ever do that because that would be just unprofessional and rude. What have you got her for her birthday?
Totally. Kev O'Cran, it's so nice to see you. How are you?
Wait a minute, Kev.
Oh.
Just hold your horses a minute. Question. This is your mother who, you think you're a big producer. She produced you. She's a better producer than you are.
I see what you did there. Very good.
What I did there. Good. Yeah. It's a radio gag and a birth gag. It's all rolled into one, right? Kev's thinking, I wish I could have this guy writing my show. I wish I could. I'd be a hit. What have you got her for her birthday? And don't say, it's a surprise. I can't tell you because you don't do surprises.
No, but can I point out, I haven't.
You've got a nothing, have you?
No, excuse me. Hang on just a cotton picking second.
You're ungrateful.
Can I just point out 2 seconds? My mother is actually watching this, and I have not given her present yet. I'm going to give her present when I get home.
You're getting something. You know what you're doing? I know exactly what you're doing. You're going into a petrol station, buying some shitty little bunch of flowers, and go, "Hi, Mum, happy birthday." That's what she gets for looking after you for 35 years. Linda, I'm shocked.
I thought, excuse me, I thought that a car air freshener would come in handy. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Listen, talking about car, are you kidding? Chrissy Holt needs 27. She's having onion soup. Get her 27 car fresheners. Right, before we bring in our next guest, who's a legend, by the way. I had a disastrous day, says Chrissy Holt in Spain yesterday. Had no sleep because of an ear infection. Ear infections are awful.
Oh, this year I'm off to windy Spain.
And Spain had to go to the doctors for antibiotics, then driving back in to the coming back into the garden, ripped a tire open on a rock. Now she's got to buy 2 new tires. Mike won't let me forget it.
I'm not surprised.
Chrissy, did you not see? It's a rock. It's not a little nail in the middle of Soho that you can't see. It's a freaking rock. Come on. Mind you, those Lamborghinis, those tires are expensive.
Yeah, it's true. Now the car's just looking tired. Now,
Are you still deflated, Phil?
Sorry, no, I'm just exhausted.
How many car gags can we do? Well, let's ignite without. Oh, come on, for God's sake! Let's pop the clutch and get our next guest on.
What an excellent idea!
Okay, now this guy is a freaking legend. Yes, come on.
I thought you were doing the introduction there. I didn't really want to interrupt.
Andrea Lucas Rush, you're rotten to my friend Phil. Shut it, Andy. And then Veronica Cohen says, "Phil, where are your gloves?"
Don't underestimate the power of the Jewish mothers watching this program. That's all I can say to you.
Everyone's protecting. I always said with our audience, half wants to marry you and half wants to adopt you. 100% just want to punch me in the face. I get that.
Anyway.
I get it. Russ.
Kev Hawkin, for heaven's sake, rescue this program. Very good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
You two crack me up. What is going on?
Oh, no flipping idea, seriously.
Kev, this is us in a good mood.
Is it? Okay.
Phil, this is us doing well. How lovely to see you.
Thank you.
It's very good. You wouldn't know. I have seen you in cabaret. Well, where was it?
Chicago? Oh, I see cabaret. Sorry.
Haven't you got somewhere to be?
Well, sort of.
Go. Jesus Christ. Anyway, the point is, I saw you and it was fantastic. It was just great. It absolutely knocked me. I'd heard about you for this is Kev Hawkin, everybody. The Kev Hawkin. And I'd heard about you for years and years and years. from lots of pals, and I'd never had the chance to see you, and it was some years back.
Mutual.
And then you came on, and I thought, God, this guy's good.
And one thing I suggest would be mutual is that we've probably never heard of each other, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
That's true, Phil. That is true. That is true. No, we have heard of each other. Well, I've definitely heard of you.
I mean, no, well, I'm only kidding, of course.
Well, those posters in the post office, they're going yellow with age, but he's still dangerous.
Do you know what? Every time Phil moves, because he's got a window behind him, every time you move, the entire camera, your camera just goes into like a flash mode. It looks like you've got war going on behind you.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I have to tell you that actually here in Southwark, it is true that there is a bit of a war going on out there.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
And
it's primarily between the rats and the pigeons, but I'm not sure who's winning so far. But
it's interesting, Kev, because Ramsey says, I love Kev. I have an Armenian cousin he should have interviewed in California for his documentary.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did a documentary a couple of years ago, actually, in 2018 called Armenia Uncovered. And we went to LA. We did a red carpet event just to kind of get it out there, to the masses that we've done this documentary, which is not all about the genocide, which is what Armenians always talk about. We wanted to talk more about the good things in life. And that's what
listen, as far as the good things are concerned, as long as they're Armenia, it's fine. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So Phil, regale us with a sort of 10-minute lecture about Armenia.
Well, I'm pleased you asked that, because according to Wikipedia, Armenia
begins with the letter A. Yes, we've got it. Right. Kev, tell us about yourself.
And it's capable of making up many words, including arm and menia.
Menia? What's menia?
It doesn't mean anything. It's just a joke.
Oh, that was not good then. I'm sorry, Phil.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you, Kev.
Sorry,
Thank you for that.
I didn't want to go there with that, but arm was a good one.
It's all right. I felt that situation escalated quite quickly. I don't really want that level of tension again, if I'm honest, but no problem.
Yeah, well, you've only got yourself to blame there.
Well,
no. Tell us about yourself. What are those behind you, by the way? You've suddenly become a doctor. What are these diplomas?
Oh, no. These are actually
he collects certificates from eBay.
Yeah. You buy and just frame it. No. So yeah, these are all like certificates and recognitions from the Senate in Armenia, in America. That's from Glendale.
God.
And that's from the city of Los Angeles. These are all like like from the mayor and the Senate, and that was actually, believe it or not, was a recognition for the Walk of Fame in Los Angeles for the.
I love that Walk of Fame thing. How fabulous is that?
Wow.
How fantastic.
So I put them there to make, but if you look over there, they're all the posters from all the shows.
Oh my God.
So they're all the shows.
Excuse me, what is this establishment? What is this establishment?
It's my little man cave that I have an office.
Little? Looks like the headquarters of Facebook there. What the hell?
Bless you. No, it's really good. Actually, hold on. Now you're off.
Spin it. Yeah,
we're off. Hang on.
We're off.
Just a cotton. He's got 2 Macs there. What the hell?
No, I've got quite a few actually. But
my God,
no one comes into the office anymore. Look, all the pantomimes.
Oh my God! Yeah, because you are the Panto King.
So a few more here. That was the last one I did before COVID kicked in. And these are all some of the shows, the posters of all the comics we perform with, all the shows we do, and all that.
Oh my God!
And then these are the first shows I ever did. So
let's have a butcher's.
Oh
God! Oh my God!
Oh, happy days.
That was the one. That was the one that Gary Wilmot, of course, did great. The Illegal Tour.
Yeah, he did. So he did that, and then finally, just because I can, these are some of the wonderful shows I did with the legends of like Bobby, Cannonball, Alan Stewart and John Inman. God bless him. That was one.
I did 2 pantos with John. What a charming man he was.
And then I met Mr. Prince Charles there.
People are going, who's that with Kev Hawkins?
So there you go. So they're some of the things I just put up on my wall. It just makes me think we're doing something right,
Damn straight. And this is, I didn't even realize I thought you were sitting, because everyone we talked to is sitting at home normally. So you got a proper office going on. This is very grown up.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Just think he's got a branch of Press and Manger all to himself.
Because it takes me away from home, where my wife and my twin 7-year-olds would literally be bashing on my head, and I wouldn't be able to get anything done.
Oh,
wow.
Well, I mean, what you and your missus get up to is your own business, to be honest with you.
That's true. But there's nothing getting up to since we've had the twins. So let's just go.
Let's leave it. Just leave it. She's a professional mom now. That is it. I just want to brighten your life a little bit. Because it's a two-way conversation. I myself have twins, and I want to tell you, they're now 23, and just about you can take the trainers off. Well, no, not both of them. They were strange birth. One's 28, one's 23. God, I was sick in that waiting room. It took ages. Here's the thing: they eventually do get better. They eventually do get better.
How do you mean?
Well, they're not 7 anymore, so that's a plus. But the little problems become big problems, you know.
So when they're teenagers, you're saying I'm facing issues.
Well, you're a man of the world. You've travelled. Hazard a wild guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I imagine you look out for a lot of buy one get one free bargains in your house.
Oh, I do. We do that every time. Well, to be honest with you, we don't have to do that anymore, you see, because my twins are very different children. They're literally chalk and cheese when it comes to looks. They're not identical at all. One's short, one's dark, one's light hair, one's dark eyes, one's light eyes. You know, one's got dark skin like me, the other one's got light skin like his mum. They're just two different children.
Wow.
There wasn't a mistake in the maternity ward, though, was there?
Probably. But do you know what? We took the other one just in case, you know, in the future, one of us needs an extra kidney or something. So, you know.
No,
kind of like an heir and a spare.
I kept the receipt. But I, never knowingly undersold with a twin. But I think it's probably expired. I don't know. It does get better.
You should have seen the reaction he got when he tried to take it back for a refund, though.
I did try, but they were a bit rude in the kitchen department at John Lewis Brent Cross. Here's the thing. Your wife must have been exhausted, because when it kicks off, when you got twins, oh my God, one goes to sleep, the other one wakes up, one's hungry.
Total hell.
It's awful. You don't ever sleep, ever.
No, so that's one of the, do you know what? That's a really interesting thing to talk about, actually, because I faced this a lot later in life, and I never contemplated this would happen to me. But when you have, you know what I mean? But hello, wake up. But it was like one of those things where we had the twins, and for the first 2 or 3 years we had a nanny, so we were able to have that opportunity where I could go away, because I tour 9 months of the year. So I'm either doing. I just literally got off a cruise ship this morning. I got off the Queen Elizabeth this morning.
Wow!
I'll tell you about that later. It's actually quite interesting what they've done on there, actually. But I got off the cruise ship, but I'm always either touring in Australia, I'm touring in America with my one-man shows, or in Dubai, or South Africa. So I'm always away. Yeah. So I was like, how's my wife going to handle 2 kids? And she was going through postnatal depression as well. So that was a really tough call for her. So we got a nanny in, basically, and it was a blessing, a true blessing.
Yeah. Well, we had to do the same because unfortunately my wife got ill, but all that sort of thing. That wasn't great. So how did you square the circle? Because yourself and people like Jeff Stevenson, and all these.
Jeff's just gone on today on the Queen Elizabeth.
The same boat.
I text him. He's just texted me, Russ. He's just texted me to say, how was it on the ship? Because I'm following you, and I went, it's great.
That's hilarious. Well, Jeff just we met in Panto. Billion years ago. I'd never heard of him. We didn't know each other. We had to share a dressing room, and we became instant best buds. And we're still best buds to this day. He's the most charming guy.
He is,
and I love his film. Have you thought about doing have you done serious acting like he did? His that thing, Touching the Blue. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I did, and
I thought it was great.
It's a brilliant movie. I'm actually doing some stuff next year, some movie projects next year. I've done a few, but they've all been very small little projects. But there's a big one coming up next year, which I'm really looking forward to doing. It's like another version of Borat. So we'll see.
I was so not going to go there. I was so not going to go there, and I thought, shall I say? No, it's cliche. I'm not going to say it. not going to say another version.
Kev, out of interest, okay, because what happens is before the show starts, we get sent a lot of information about our guests. We can never interpret any of it. We get sent a lot of information. Thanks. And anyway, the point is, with the information we're sent upon yours, it says Kev is without question one of the UK's finest entertainers, motivational speakers, and internationally acclaimed award-winning comedy pianist. Now, I just wondered.
I have no idea who wrote that.
I just wondered.
You wrote that. Yours sincerely, Kev Orkian, it said at the bottom.
What is?
For all inquiries, contact Kev Orkian.
No, what is, in your humble opinion, and I'm being serious with this because I feel like sort of what motivates people is different. It's subjective. What is a motivational speaker, in your opinion?
So what I do is every morning, and for the past couple of months now, even though I've spoken about it a lot in schools, I've done colleges where I go and I talk about how I was, severely bullied in school. So it was a bad experience for me. And I always talk about this because I talk about the fact that I was severely bullied for 6.5 years. I was stabbed twice in the shoulder.
My God.
Yeah. I was shot in the back with an air rifle that a kid had brought into school for a science project, believe it or not. And I announced it was my birthday. And when I announced it was my birthday, I got the not the bumps, but I actually got the kicks, and they fractured my rib, and I got severely bullied for a while. You know that.
Kev,
wow.
Was this in the UK or where was this?
Yeah.
It was here,
North London. Yeah. So I got a lot of bullying, and for 6.5 years, I never told my parents because I never wanted them to hear that I was going through it, because the last thing I wanted was my mum and dad to come to the school and go, this is going on, he's getting bullied, you know, what's going on, you know, blah, 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 and all that. And I thought, I can't be dealing with that. Can't be dealing with that.
Which is strange because they're French.
Yeah. So it was weird. So I was like, no, this is going to be, I've got to keep this to myself. So I did. And what happened was, during those 6.5 years, I started getting used to the bullies. And I kind of got into their rhythm. So what they would do, they would come up to either take my money or to punch me or to beat me. So I would tell them jokes. And if I told them a joke, they would leave me alone if they thought it was funny. So this kind of went on and on.
Oh my God, pressure.
I know, but it was good practice. So
I would have been beaten up at least 3 times during this show so far.
Yeah, totally. So 6.5 years later, I leave school and I go to college. And while I'm in college, I'm working at Millfield Theatre in North London.
Yep.
And you know it, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm behind the bar and I'm pulling pints. And I heard this voice turn around and say, "Can I have 2 white wine spritzers?" And when I turned around, it was the guy that had bullied me for 6.5 years. Had stabbed me twice. But here's the good bit. He was standing there with his boyfriend.
My God.
So I turned around, looked at him, and I went, "Hello, Jeff." And he went, "Who are you?" And I went, "Kev." And he went, "Oh my God." And he turned around to his boyfriend. He went, "Oh, this is Kev. We were in school together." I said, "Yeah." I said, he was the guy that really severely bullied me. And the boyfriend turned around and went, "You bullied people." And he went, I said, no. And I went, "No, stop. I said, "Stop. Please don't have a go at Jeff." I said, "Because actually I've just realized he was fighting a harder fight than me." I said, because he was trying to keep his sexuality back from everyone, which is why he was bullying me, because I was an easy target. And I said, "Jeff, I forgive you, mate." And he went, "What?" I said, "I forgive you." I came around I cuddled him, gave him a kiss, and he broke down in my arms.
Wow.
That is one of the best stories we have ever had.
And then his boyfriend punched you for kissing him.
And then the boy, and Kev and Jeff have been together ever since. That's the way you wanted to break it.
That's what motivational is for me. So, Phil, in answer to your question, I go out and try and motivate people. But now what I'm doing is I'm actually talking to people about manifestations more than I am motivational, because manifestations, I'm now seeing everything that I manifest. There's an order that I put in where you think it, you believe it, you take action, and then you achieve it. And I'm going to
slow down, because this is really fascinating. Manifestations.
Yeah. So what I do is, so for example, and I'll say it clearly because this came to me by pure manifestation, because I had wanted to talk about men's mental health, which is why I'm on a couple of platforms. I'm also now teaming up with a fantastic team called Mendable, who are basically, they go into Clubhouse every week, two talks every week, and they talk about men's mental health and this and that. And I'm intrigued to try and help different people on this planet try and understand that actually mental health is a very, very real thing. But at the same time, it's something that if you start talking to yourself in a different way, if you start communicating with your mind in a different way, your soul, you actually can come out with a different outcome. So by doing that, I start talking about manifestations. So one of the things I do now is manifest opportunities for myself, but a collaboration with people that I just want to work with, good people, nice people. So when this come along, this to me was a blessing. It truly was, because one, I know you, Russ, from years and years ago, but two, we have a mutual friend called Haig. It's like, hello, then we have another mutual friend called Jeff Stevenson. Now we have a mutual friend. And you know what? When you're in the same circles, you tend to know people, and you tend to, understand that somewhere along the line, you're probably going to cross paths. So manifestations for me are every morning, I get up at 5 o'clock. By 5:30, I have manifested for 30 minutes what I want to achieve and what I want to see in my life. Okay. That's nothing else. That's not like me getting up and taking action on it. It's just me manifesting. So I go, you know what? I'd love to see some more work on my calendar. So I turn around. So there's my calendar right there. Right. So what I do every day, I manifest from 5 till 5:30, and I look at red dots, and the red dots, I look at them and go, I really want to see more red dots. I really want to see more red dots. I really want to see more red dots, which are corporate work, great work, opportunities for me to travel around the world to see that. So I think about all those things. I also start manifesting opportunities where I want to meet nice people. I want to work with nice people. And I start creating that platform in my head. Then at 5:30, get out, go and take the dog for a walk. So I walk with the dog for half an hour. Yeah. And what I do is during that time, I breathe, get your oxygen into your lungs, think about all the positives in your life. And I do a video every morning, which is on Instagram. And every morning I talk about how I manifested something and how it's come true, or how it's coming true, or the fact that something did come true a while ago. And I share that experience. And by doing that, and it's literally only 2 minutes, literally only 2-minute videos. I don't do anything longer than that. And people are now connecting with me going, Kev, I'm struggling with my life, and I'm doing this, and I'm learning from you by manifesting a better opportunity, better outcome, a positive outcome of what I want out of my life. And I think all you need to do is really, really just talk to hold on. Let me say it properly, because I don't want to make a mistake. The loud voice in your head is always the negative voice.
Always.
It will always be, yeah.
Always.
So you turn around and go, oh, I want to go and do a gig in a football stadium. I want to go and do it. And the voice in your head goes, hold on a minute, that's 63,000 people, mate. And you know what? If you die on your ass, everyone's going to hate you for the rest of your life. And suddenly the negative kicks in. Whereas what I do is I tell the loud voice, shh, don't need to know. I don't need to know you. Go away, please. And I physically say that. I go away, please. Leave me alone. I don't need
you. Are. I want to read some of the comments, because you're resonating like crazy with.
Am I?
Or resonating like mad. And the other thing is, I take it a step further. I completely get what you're saying, except because of my sleep patterns, I go to bed between 3 and 4 every morning. It's ridiculous. I know.
Wow.
I don't go to bed before 3 or 4 every morning.
Which is weird, really, because I get up at 2:30 in the morning. So there's actually really never a moment when either of us have left this world as truly to itself.
It's madness. We're like the American B-52 force. We're always out there. But when that little voice comes in, I've got 2 things. One is another of our presenters that I was so impressed, called Cuddy Cudsworth, and he talked about this. So this is just a physical thing. When that starts, I click it. And because it's a physical thing to change your mindset. Sounds silly. I actually tell it, I won't use the actual language, but I talk aloud to that inner voice. Yeah. And I tell it to F off. Yeah. I actually just tell it F off. I don't want to hear you. And I'm sure the neighbors must think he's gone completely around the bend. Either he's talking to the dog or he's just gone potty. But I do, because the action of telling it to F off means you know it's there, but you don't have to let it dominate your thoughts.
Correct. And
let me read some of the comments.
Voice, but then do you listen to the quiet voice? Because the quiet voice, the one that whispers, right? Okay, The one that whispers is the one you got to do, Russ, because the one that whispers is actually your divine voice. It's the one that goes, you can do everything. You can do everything.
Well, I'd take a little argument with you there. You can't do, I mean, look, what, wave a magic wand? Well, I'd like to be the Ferrari Formula One driver. I can't do it. I don't know.
No, you're saying you can't. No, you're saying you can't. Well, but if you say you can't, then you're right. But if you say you can, then you're also right.
I think you got to be the only caveat I'd have with this, Kev, is that it's got to be somewhat realistic. So when I got the idea, and it was something I've been mulling over, and I did it as a joke, and then Penny Horner at the German Street Theatre said, I was reminded when you had your board, she said, right, you're doing your one-man show, and she put it up at the German Street Theatre and wrote it in. She said, you're in now. That's it. You're going to do it. And I thought, oh, Christ. And that started a whole other sort of career thing, which, of course, COVID has killed. Now, here's the thing. That would be kind of realistic, because having been a writer, I thought, well, I could write a set, and et cetera, et cetera. But it was a huge leap of faith. But I couldn't do athletics. I know I'm no good at sport. I have no natural ability. So I've got to be realistic when I say you can do anything. But you can do a lot more than you think you can.
Yeah, but do you know what, Russ? I think, and I truly, truly believe this. Truly believe it. I'll give you an example, so you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm basically a child that was brought up in a very ethnic family home. My first language is Armenian. My second language is Turkish. My third language is English.
Kidding me?
Wow.
No, I didn't know English till I was 4 years old, but yet I was born in England. And I was brought up very strict. First thing I learned was the piano, of course, my mum's dream, which then became my reality. And in school, there was no such thing as dyslexia in 1976, 77, 78. I mean, we didn't know about it.
You were just called stupid. They just said, so-and-so is stupid.
Sure.
No, they're not. They're dyslexic.
Yeah, what's the other one? Disruptive. And yet I had ADHD, which was diagnosed when I was 21. Little did I know. So all these things happened to me. And what I realized was everything in my life that was happening good was happening to me because I was thinking about it. And I became very self-aware very quickly about that. Very, very quickly. But my life was still shite by the time I was 31 because I had debts of over £127,000 with bad credit cards, bad loans, and bad relationships. And I thought, I need to change my life around. And I manifested my entire life where I became financially free 17 months later.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And that wouldn't have happened with someone who was crap at school, failed at everything, hardly got any GCSEs, and then left school with literally a performing arts diploma and then went into the West End, right? Literally my opening career was I took over Brian Connolly in the West End playing Me and My Girl. Then I went into Fame and then all the other musicals, right? But I manifested those. I know I did. But here's the big one, right? Who am I, right, in my head, if I thought like this, who am I to go and buy the biggest comedy brand in the UK and look after 2,000 other comics? Who am I to do it? But I didn't think that way. So what I'm saying to you, Russ, is I turned around and went, I was an open mic in Jongleurs. I did 8 minutes. I did 8 minutes. And then 10 years later, I bought the brand. And now I own Jongleurs. So I can open it up.
You bought it from Maria.
Say again?
Did you buy that from Maria?
No, she had already sold it on to another client.
Oh, she'd already, because I know her very, very well.
Yeah,
I have
Maria,
to tell you,
she started the brand.
She started the brand with her then husband John. That was it. But she was always, in my opinion, the brains of the.
She was not just the brains. She was also the passion. She was the one that
she's still so passionate. This is Maria Kempinska, Dr. Maria Kempinska, who's one of our presenters. I was delighted to invite her on to Women's Radio. She's great. I've known her forever. She gave me the worst night of my. She gave me the worst night of my entire life.
Why?
Because oh God, this is when you don't prepare, or you think you can do it. They would. Do you remember the South Bank show?
Yes.
Remember the Melvin Bragg, the South Bank show?
Yeah, of course I do.
Let's have lunch. So I said, okay. So they take me out to this fabulous lunch. It was summer's day, the wine's flowing. And they said, Russ, we want to do the A to Z of British comedy. And S is for stand-up. Now, I was writing for everybody at the time, but I'd never, ever performed. And they said, what we're looking for is someone who knows how to work an audience, because I used to have to do speaking and all that, but has never done stand-up. And then the whole table turned to look at me. Now, I should have run. I should have run. I didn't. I was so nervous. It took me months to write the first set. And they followed us around with cameras everywhere. It was a Friday night at Jongleurs in Battersea. And the immortal words of Julie Burchill, not since Lee Harvey Oswald has one person died in front of so many people. It was,
wow.
I died on my
wow.
It was the worst. And there were friends and family, plus a 4-camera shoot. And then I came off the stage wanting to die. And the camera straight in your face. How did it feel, Russ? And I was dying. And I didn't go back and do stand-up for over 20 years after that.
Wow.
The experience was so horrible. And then the producers phoned me and said, Russ, I hid. Do you know what, Kev? When you talk about imagining things and how you have to rebuild yourself, I hid in bed for 2 days. It was the worst I felt. Under the duvet. I was that embarrassed. And then the producers phoned me and went, we've seen the rushes, we've re-edited it, we've cut it through, we put a laughter track on. You look fantastic. And I go, what? They re-edited the whole thing. And then here's the kicker about having to pull yourself up again. So I'm thinking, this is great. Maria's right. I got a whole new career. This is fantastic. Melvin Bragg suddenly realized this was going to be a big show. Cut me out, cut the whole thing. This has been months of work. Cut everything out so he could be in the show. And cat out Barry Cryer. Barry Cryer, the god of comedy. So I said, that was it. So I never touched it again. I had to get back on that horse, but it scared the crap out of me. It was
I actually run a course on it now. So I do a course on how to do stand-up comedy through the art of joke telling, writing, and producing and whatever. And then you actually perform after 12 sessions. You perform a 3-minute to 5-minute set in one of our Jongleurs comedy clubs.
Wow. Well, isn't it funny? 6 degrees of separation. And then I just cured myself of it. Now my show's it's an hour-and-a-half show. It's an hour-and-a-half one-man show.
Brilliant.
Anyway, can I read some of the questions, some of the comments? Because they're as I said, you're really hitting hard with our Melanie Hutchins. Would manifestation be similar to prayer, meditation, and lists?
Yes, of course. Well, that's exactly what it is. Manifestation is actually tapping into an infinite intelligence. That's what I believe anyway. So manifestation is the same as prayer. When you're praying for positivity in your life. You're praying for goodness. You're praying for good things to happen to you. So it's the same as manifesting. The difference is both of them are going to the same energy source. The difference is you're doing it in a different way. Sometimes people who pray do it through a religious platform rather than just a platform to want to have good things in their life. And I personally, I'm not really religious. My mum and dad were very religious. We Christian Orthodox, brought up in at church every Sunday and this and that, whatever. However, I realized that actually, and this might be a little bit controversial to some people, they might hear it, but actually we're all what they call gods. So we're all light. That's how I look at it anyway. We're all light. So we come onto this planet, we have a human existence, and then we leave back with the light. That's what I believe in. So I believe you come onto this planet, you live this human existence, you do what you can for the very small amount of time you have here, and then you leave the body here, but your light, your spirit carries on. So what I'm saying is, I think if you're manifesting, you've got to tap in to the energy. And there is an energy, and it's very simple to get to. You just got to close your surroundings. You've got to just focus on your own inner strengths and whatever, and you'll see it. It's really, I say it as if it's blasé, but it's bloody easy to do. And what happens is your body starts to vibrate and you get very goose pimply and whatever, because you're getting excited because there's goodness coming towards you, and it's just positive. It's just positive energy.
We have, Phil and I have interviewed so many people. Somebody came up with a wonderful phrase, one of our guests in the early days, and they said, oh, somebody's a mood hoover. in other words, and I used to call them energy vampires.
Yeah, I call them dream killers.
I love that as well, dream killers.
Yeah, I call them dream.
I think this is great. By the way, Chrissy Holt, who's listening in Spain, where it's 8 billion degrees, and she's just got to have 2 new tires because she managed not to see a rock. I agree with you, Kev. I've seen the light.
Good.
Right. Let's crack on. What I was saying about that is if you surround yourself with positive people, good things can happen. At least you've got the possibility of really good things happening. You've already said, Kev, that you like to work with people you like. I'm guessing here you only work with some people that you like. I would guess if you didn't like that person or thought, yeah, they're good, but you probably won't work with them.
Yeah, it's funny. And I think that comes with age and also perhaps with time and wisdom. But I'm very, very careful now. I mean, I can go as far back as only a couple of months ago. A colleague of mine that worked in this office opposite me on this desk, literally, a friend that I called a friend. And for a year and a half, rent free, sat opposite me here, and we set up a business called Fresh Event Productions, which basically was the one part of my company which was missing, which was basically AV, PA, and setup, making an event look good. So we set the company up together, me and this guy, and it was about a year. We didn't do much work on it. He didn't want to do too much with it because he said we haven't got enough equipment and this and that. He made so many excuses, and that's the bit that I began to start going the other way, because I was like, excuses, it's just excuses. We can achieve anything in our lives if we put our mind to it. So pandemic kicked in, and then he disappeared because he needed to go and earn money. So I turned around and said to him, I think it's probably a time we shut the company down, and because we've got payments to make and accounts to. So we shut the company down. He split the business, the bank account 50-50, which was hardly anything in there. And then 3 weeks later, he called me and I said, "Oh, mate, how are you, pal? How's things going?" And this and that. And during the pandemic, by the way, I gave him so much work. I think I gave him close to maybe 10 or 15 grand's worth of work during the pandemic, which I hadn't even earned. Yeah, I hadn't even earned that money. So he said to me, "Just to let you know, Kev, before you hear it from anyone else, I've set up a business with Sean, which is another friend." So I said, "Oh, great. That's fantastic. I wish you all the success in the world." And he said, "Bless you, pal." He said, "But just to give you the heads up," he said, "the company's just come to us asking us for a comedy night." And I went, "Oh, bless you, mate," thinking,
thank you. Oh, that's really
sweet. Jonglers,
I think we're ahead of you on this.
And you know what? He said, "I've set my own comedy club up and we're going to be doing our own comedy nights." And I just thought, wow. You think you know people, and the more I'm experiencing this, the more I'm realizing actually that you've got to be very careful in life. Sometimes it's not too bad to be a little bit selfish, a little bit, just to protect yourself and to realize that actually giving yourself to everyone as friendship, which is I do automatically anyway. I can't control that. I love everyone. When I meet people and I think they've got good energy, I love them.
Kev, I think you're absolutely right about this. Russ, I'm off.
Oh, thank God, he's gone. Kev, I've been carrying him. What does he do? Nothing. He just sits around looking like Adam Adamant. Can I read some more of these comments? The thing is, though, I'm a horrible cynic, although I do say that a cynic is what a romantic calls a realist. And Phil always says, "Oh, you're so cynical about this." Well, yeah, because you get bitten when you get to you've been in business for a long time. You do get bitten, so you do have to be careful. Then we go through this thing. Oh, I'm letting somebody down, and you think, no. They've come to you, out of the blue, asking for stuff, and they
attracted them. Yeah,
they're coming to you. They're asking for stuff, and you can't always, pull the rabbit out of the hat. It's not always possible. And there's some stuff going on at the moment, and I'm thinking, well, I really shouldn't be beating myself up. I can't, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
Yeah.
There we are. So I shouldn't feel guilty about that. Emma Webb says, "Dream killers need help not to do that."
That's an interesting comment, Emma, because actually my wife is a dream killer. And what I mean by that is I love my wife to bits. Yeah, I love my wife to bits. No. I'm very honest with it. She's a dream killer. And what I mean by that is this. I'll turn around to my wife and I'll go, I'm gonna produce a brand new show and we're gonna do it here. It's probably gonna cost about 30 grand. And they say, as soon as I mention the money, she goes, "Oh, do you think that's safe? Do you think that's gonna happen?" I mean, I'll be honest, what if you don't make it? What if the audiences don't turn up? I mean, we've got the pandemic at the moment, and if that happens and the people don't turn up, you're gonna lose 30 grand. I mean, can you afford to lose 30 grand? I mean, it's just really difficult. And then the marketing that goes, suddenly what she's done is her fears, she's dumped on me, right? Not mine, her fears. So suddenly, people who are weak will take those fears and go, "Oh God, is she right? Is she right? Is she right?" And then you'll lose the whole dream, and the dream dies. That's what I call dream killers.
But I've never met Mrs. Orkin, or I should say, at this rate, the current Mrs. Orkin. I've not met the first Mrs. Orkin. I've not met her, but when I get carried away with enthusiasm, and it is important to have somebody. Well, Andy Lucas she's saying she is being practical. There is a side of it, like, have you thought it through? Is this absolutely a sound idea? I don't think that's it does suck some of the, when you're creative, you get hugely enthusiastic and you think everything's great, and then there are the pounds, shillings, and pence. Oh, nice cutting edge reference, Russ. To which has to go with it, So it is
True.
her fears. Because she's got, with you, twins, you want a roof over your head. 30 grand is 30 grand. It's a lot of dosh. So there's a practical side.
Totally. No, I totally agree with everything you said there is great. But the question she doesn't ask is, so if you were to do it, what would be the benefits? What would happen? What positive outcome would come from this? None of those are ever discussed. It's always the negatives. And I think if you're going to be practical, like Andrea's just put, then let's discuss both aspects. Let's discuss both balances, both sides of the coin. Don't just talk about the negative. Let's talk about both sides. And then then I say, she's not a dream killer. She's more realistic. But that's not always the case.
Chrissy Holt from Spain again. I've got loads of comments coming in. So Phil can do some of these. If I can break into your schedule, Phil. Chrissy Holt says, I always think the worst in situations. Am I a dream killer?
Why do you mean worse in situations? So if I said to you, Chrissy, could you sit down and put together the most incredible 5-course dinner, and you go, "Oh God, no, I couldn't do that." Well, as soon as you said you can't do that, then you can't. Literally, this is what I'm trying to show people. If you say something, it is actually what you're saying is right. So if you say, "Oh God, I can," of course, 5-course dinner, I could do it with my eyes closed. Then you probably end up doing it. And what happens is if you keep saying it to yourself that you can, ultimately you do. I made literally Michelin, of course they're not Michelin star, but Michelin star dishes during the pandemic. People were coming over. I was taking pictures of them. I got such an incredible amount of momentum. They were like, you've bought that, and you've just made, I've gone, no, I'm not a chef, but I literally just went passion. I went, I can do this. I can do it better than Jamie Oliver. And I literally went.
Yes, you probably. With respect, you probably.
My brain said, "I can." I said to myself, "I can," and I did.
Now Ramsey has a great question. Boy, it's coming in thick and fast. Ramsey says this, but Kev, how many times has she saved you from making a bad investment? That's a great question.
Not once.
Wowzer!
Not once.
Crumbs.
Blimey, seriously? Because my other half has. My other half has.
Hand on my heart, not once. So what happens is, and the big one was this one. This was the big one. We had a house, 3-bedroom, semi-detached, and I'd bought it in the millennium. So I'd bought it and I'd had it for at least 17 years before she even remotely came into my life. And then she moved in to my property. We lived together. We got married. And then we had the twins, and suddenly the house became a lot smaller. 3-bedroom became a problem.
They do take up a lot of room.
Yeah. So I said to her, we need to move to a bigger house. Yes, we do. We looked far afield, and then ironically, 4 doors away, but a small walk away, we found a detached property with 4 bedrooms. And she said to me, I don't think we're going to be able to keep the current house. We need to sell it, Kev, and then we buy our new house. And I said to her, no, I don't sell houses. I keep houses for pension and for investment, because as a performer, That's the only investment we've got. So we're going to buy. She went, no, we can't do it. And we got into a very heated debate. This is where I'm talking about her fears she was putting onto me. And I was saying to her, but trust me, this is how we're going to do it. And I think it'll work. Anyway, we got the professionals in. I'm not a professional property purchaser buyer. We got a professional in. He said to us, and this is the bit that turned her. He said, to keep this house and to buy this house, the difference is £89 a month.
Get out.
No.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, exactly. £89 a month. And she went, can we do this? And I said, yeah, of course we can.
Can you give me the name of this bloke? I could really do. I'm not going to lie.
No, absolutely. I'll share his details. He's a genius.
His name was Ronnie Biggs.
Ronnie Biggs,
Ronnie Biggs. It was all cash.
And lo and behold, we kept the house. We've got our other house now. And now we earn a premium from that house. And someone else is paying off the house. Now I've got quite a few properties, but those 2 properties now are there for our sons. So when finally they grow up and they get to a certain age, there you go, boy.
You're making me feel terrible now. Ramsey says,
wow, that's all I can say. Bravo, because the number of people who I can only describe it as screw up when it comes to the world of property is unreal, but that's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you can do it. You just need to. Okay, so can I just say this, Russ, before you say anything? You just need to surround yourself with people that know something better than you. End of.
Yeah, but
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, but I've got Phil, Kev. This is a total utter reflection of my life. As Paul says,
look at what you could have won. You could have wound up with Tarrant. No, you got me.
Paul says, Russ kept thinking to himself, I want to work with the best radio professional in the world. And he got Phil.
Well, you manifested it and you got the best in the business. There you go.
Yeah, right. Ramsey says, but you have such gorgeous twin boys and she's better looking than you.
Oh, I'm definitely batting above my average. Definitely.
There we are. It's interesting.
How does Ramsey know this? That's what I want to know. But anyway.
Sorry, I missed that.
I want to know how Ramsey knows this, but let's not dwell on that too much.
Oh, well, it's probably just images on Instagram or Facebook.
Good Lord.
Jules Silverman says, I love this. Positivity breeds positivity. And that is so true. That is so true. And there was something else. Melanie Hutchins says, this is very interesting. I'm sorry I got here late. Would love to listen more. Sorry, missed his name. Kev Orkian. Kev Orkian is this rather extraordinary. Now, Paul Claridge says,
as if by magic it's come up on screen now.
It's just, you're a genius.
Oh, please don't tell him that, for God's sake.
My life is complete.
You got to just. Oh, thank God he's gone. Paul, he's back. Jesus, it's annoying me today. Paul Claridge says, "I believe manifesting works. My mate Cornell believes in it. When he set out to become a personal trainer, he dreamed of working some of the biggest names in showbiz. He always believed it would happen, and it did. He trained Leonardo DiCaprio, Audrey Tautou, Colin Firth, to name but a few." Oh, and he once spoke to Russ about farting in a lift. See, Kev, you don't get this on Radio 4.
No. Wonderful. That's like Andrea's just said. Wonderful.
Yes, I don't think she was describing that as wonderful, but never mind. Anyway, good grief.
And this is another very good quote, Kev. This is what I'm saying. You're really having a great reaction. Emma Webb says, Kev makes sense. Totally understand what Kev being said. What's being said can bring and make change.
Okay. Actually, just on that note, let me tell you this, right? Really quick. So, in 2019, I got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic.
Oh.
Yeah. And the news hit me, and my wife was with me at the time. So we're both talking to the doctor, and she was obviously concerned. And I said to the doctor, "Oh, bless you, mate. Thanks for letting me know." And he went, "You're not concerned?" I said, "Oh, God." I said, "I'll reverse it." And he went, "Sorry?" I said, "I'll reverse it. Don't worry about it." And he went, "Well, that's a bit arrogant." Right. This is the doctor telling me this, right? He said, "That's a bit arrogant," because he said, not a lot of people have had the success. I went, It's okay. I'll do it. I said, "I've got a different mindset." And he went, "All right." So he said, "I do want to check on you in 3 months." He checked on me 3 months later, and he said, "I'm sorry, Kev." He said, "Your blood sugars are still very high." He said, "Your cholesterol's still very high." And I said, "Okay." So I then went on a diet, didn't work. Okay. And in May 2020, my wife broke her ankle severely. Right. And I don't want to digress on this, by the way, because she broke her ankle. And I will tell you that her foot, this is a trigger moment, by the way, her foot was the other way around. If anyone gets, I'm sorry about that. But she was on the floor screaming in the garden. It was a really hot summer's day, as you know, last year in 2020. I walked up to her, and I can tell you right now, I only thought about this 4 months after I did it, that the entire world went silent. I'm not making this up. This is true. The entire world went silent while I was looking at her, and I looked at her foot, and the voice in my head, and it wasn't my voice. I can tell you now, it wasn't my voice. Just went, "Turn it around." That's all it said. So I just got a foot and I twisted it right back round. Right? Did it and done and dusted it, and she went out. She fainted. She went grey. Her eyes went behind her head. She gone. My mother-in-law started screaming at me, which is when I started hearing the volume outside again. My twins were like, "Daddy, what do we do? What do we do?" I said, "Call the ambulance." Called the ambulance. My mother-in-law did what she had to do and whatever. The ambulance arrived 16 to 17 minutes later. They gave her morphine. And suddenly she's now out of it and the pain's gone. Right? They take her to hospital. Anyway, that night I've dropped off a load of bag of, underwear and t-shirts, anything to look after her. And she said to me, the doctor asked me who turned my foot around, what paramedic? And she said, it wasn't a paramedic, it was my husband. Why? And she said, he saved your life. She said, because if he hadn't turned your foot around, your foot was that twisted, he said, we would have had to amputate your foot. Yeah, so it's funny that those voices, they look after you when you need them. All right, you've got to be open to it. So anyway, cut a long story short, I've gone through it. Now the stress of looking after my wife, who's bedbound, by the way, and I'm obviously doing everything, from the commode through to the cooking, cleaning, ironing, washing, everything, plus looking after twins, homeschooling, plus running 4 businesses, as you can imagine in this office. It was a nightmare. And I just stayed strong. Mentally, I stayed strong. But I kept eating wrong things, right? KFC, Big Mac, kebabs, everything, because that was my compensation. Yes. Anyway, January 28th.
Comfort.
Exactly. January 26th of this year, went to the doctor, did the bloods, did the urine. Oh my God. He said, if you were 60, we would be amputating your legs today, Kev. He said, because you are in the most critical condition with your type 2 diabetes. Your blood sugars are 24.5. He said, your cholesterol is through the roof. He said, if you don't go on the tablets today, I'm going to have to sign you off as your doctor. I'm not going to look after you anymore. So I went, give me the prescription. He gave me the prescription. I had it in my office. I've actually taken it away. I had it up on here. I've taken it away. I put it on there and I put the words in red, never. I just wrote never on it and I put it up on the frame. And on the February the 4th, I started the keto lifestyle, right? Because that's the only one that said it brings your blood sugars down. In 5.5 months, I've brought my blood sugars down from 24.5 to 4.6, which is the 4.6 to 4.8. I've lost 3 stone in weight. It's all gone. 3 stone.
Can we just point, by the way, I think we should point to those who don't necessarily speak blood sugar levels. 4.6 is near enough normal, isn't it? That's kind of what anyone else would be.
And I've reversed my type 2 diabetes. It's gone.
Wow.
It's very odd. It's very odd you said this, because I went to the doctor. The other day. Now, I went to the doctor some time ago, and out of the blue, he I don't know where he learned his bedside manner. God knows. I think Gotham Asylum. Anyway, he says, I gave it back. I said, when they, can I just ask you a question? And yes, of course. And I said, when you were training to be a doctor, I said, were you ill on the day when they trained bedside manner? Did you miss that class? He got the point. He said, well, I've got to tell you, you're pre-diabetic. And I was like, excuse me? And like you, I didn't need any drugs or anything. And I was shocked. And I just thought, right, got to take control. And like you, I reversed it. And when I went back, I said, oh, everything's absolutely fine now. A lot of it is here. I'm not sure I'd have been so brave. I don't think I would have been as brave. Some people say very brave. Some people say you're mad to have written never in red, a pen on the prescription. I would have been rushing around to the chemist ASAP, but that's me.
No, because if you did that, then you've actually accepted the fact that you're going to take it.
Yes, but you see, here's the thing. You say surround yourself. You were talking about your homes. Surround yourself with people who know more than you in certain key areas. I think that's always essential. I'm not a doctor. I go to the doctor. The doctor says X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I would be kind of daft not to do. Now, for you, it's worked out terrific because you've got the strength. But other people who mess around with their medicines or stop taking them and don't talk to the doctors about it, etc., you are opening a door to potential problems.
No, because ultimately, how am I different to you? We're all the same. It's just our fear factor that's different. It's our fear. And this is part of the reason why people don't achieve incredible goals in their life. And I think it was Les Brown who said it. He said the most valuable place in the world are graveyards, because there people have gone with great ideas that would never, ever become a reality. And that's the truth. Whatever comes into your mind, whatever you want to achieve in life, you have the ability to achieve it. I'm no different to you, Russ, or to Phil, or to anyone else that's watching this or listening to this program. We're not different to anyone. We're all the same. It's just our fear factors and our want to be something greater than we already are. And all you need to do is just say to yourself, that's all well and good. Like, a doctor turns around to a cancer patient and goes, I'm sorry, you're on, you've got your terminal. You're not going to survive. And then they survive. But the doctor said, you're not going to survive. And the patient goes, it's all right. I am going to survive, but I'm going to go through a bit of a journey now. Wow. That mentality, every one of us has that mentality and that strength. We just don't tap into it as hard because we fear things. That's what it is.
There's also another thing which I would add, and I know I go on about it, but it's something I totally believe in. I attended a lecture years ago by the great Deepak Chopra. Extraordinary. Some of the most extraordinary hours I've ever spent at the Royal Geographical Society. And he made the point, and he spoke solidly for over 2.5 hours, no notes in front of him. Amazing. Yeah. And he said, the brain manufactures more pharmaceuticals than anything else. It is the greatest pharmacy that you need.
Absolutely.
Which leads on to my next comment. This is from Ramsey again. Kev is such a good guest. I'll be the judge of that, Ramsey. His entertainment company does so much to keep people happy and entertained, something we all need. And I loved his piano sketch with Catherine Jenkins, such an underrated comedy double act. The thing about it is, mental attitude, call it whatever you will, it does release certain endorphins. It does make you feel better. It can make you feel stronger. But, and finding that happiness, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be you don't have to go out and buy a Porsche Carrera 4S or whatever. It can be something really small. Just that little fillip, or just the way that you think is so important, and it affects your health. There's no two ways that it does or doesn't affect your health.
Paul's just put something, and I'll let you read it, Russ. Oh, there you go. Look, when I got cancer diagnosis, I thought I was going to I'm going to beat this and survive. I never ever thought it would beat me. And that's the mindset. That's exactly Paul's just nailed it. And here's the funny thing, right? Years ago, they did a test on patients who were struggling with illnesses and flu and this and all that. And they gave patients sugar tablets and told them they were aspirin, that it would cure them. And these people were getting cured on sugar tablets. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that your mindset is stronger than the tablet you're taking.
Totally. I do remember reading something about that myself. And I think there's been several studies in the past along those lines, because they do it every so often. It is absolutely fascinating, because it is a case of mind over matter. But it is exactly the same way. One of the reasons, by the way, when you were talking just now about being diabetic, and one of the reasons that I knew that sort of the level 4.6, 4.7 around that mark was normal, is because I went through a whole hoo-ha a few years back where I was misdiagnosed as being hypoglycemic. And when I was told this, that I was hypoglycemic, of course, every time I didn't eat every few hours, I felt really unwell,
Right.
convinced I was going to pass out, started getting jittery and all of that. Anyway, this went on. I'm giving the abridged version. I had that for 3 years of being misdiagnosed before I finally went back to the doctors. Went back to the doctors and saying, I don't understand this. I really don't understand. That I had a really bad turn one time around Christmas time a few years back. And I said, I just don't get it. I just feel awful. I'm doing everything. I know this like the back of my hand now. So he said, all right, well, look, the only thing you can do now is have one of those blood sugar meter things, because I really didn't want one. I'm utterly needle phobic. The thought of needles just makes me physically sick. So I said, okay, it's fine. I'll put up and shut up. Went back 2 weeks later with the meter, and he read through the results and he said, now you're absolutely sure you did this when you felt unwell? I said, absolutely. I said, you said when I felt unwell or just before I was about to eat something. You said, take the measure then. And he said, then your blood sugar levels are exactly the same as anyone else I'd expect to find in that waiting room. There's nothing wrong with you with blood sugar levels. I said, I'm sorry, what? At first I was a bit shocked because, of course, like I said, if you live 3 years thinking you got a condition, you don't expect someone to turn around and think it's sort of miracle of miracles, you're cured. You know, I'm not being funny, but I'm realistic. I know that doesn't happen. Anyway, so I sort of eventually processed it. And then when I got home, I thought to myself, oh my God, I've been given a second chance. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, it was a misdiagnosis. The number of people who said to me, though, are you going to sue? Are you going to take legal action? No, first of all, I don't live in America. Secondly, even if I did live in America, I would not do that because I am so grateful that I've been given another chance. It's Absolutely. Fine. And I didn't even care the fact that my premium had gone up, you know, because any medical help I'd got or anything like that had all been done through insurance. And of course, that had all added to it. I didn't care because as far as I was concerned, been given another shot.
Yeah.
And but that's how I got to know about it. That's how I understood about sort of blood sugar levels and things like that. But it does just go to show that as soon as he said to me, you're not unwell, like that, never had another attack.
Yeah. Funny, isn't it?
That is, I've known Phil sadly for too long. And I didn't know that story. I didn't know that.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Literally, as soon as he said, I never had another attack.
Emma Webb says Kev is on point in every sense of the word here. And Jules Silverman says it's all down to mindset. I do believe you can talk yourself into being ill. Oh, God, Jules.
Totally. There you go. Point proven.
Totally. We all have problems in life. With a positive mindset, everything can be overcome. And even if you say, well, no, that's nonsense. Not everything can be overcome. It can be the way that you deal with it. It's not the card, you know, there's a stupid saying, but it's guided me that it's not the cards you've been dealt, it's how you play your hand. You can't always control the cards that you're dealt with by life. You can't. They're random. It's coming out of a random
It is random, but you've also got to accept, Russ, that if it's random and it's coming into your life, then a certain aspect of that is magnetically drawn to you. So what you can do is turn around and change the condition of that, the cards that have been dealt to you. And what people want is they want it now, like that. And it doesn't happen like that. It's a mindset that takes time, which time reveals. Like, for example, you get into a car accident, you're not gonna be crushed in a car, have injuries that are life-changing injuries, and then think you're going to be walking the following day out of hospital. But as long as your mindset, right, is I'm going to beat this and I'm going to walk again and I'm going to be back to where I was again and I'm going to carry on, then you're already on the right path with your mindset. It's a bloody hard thing, okay? And I can talk as if I've had a car accident. No, but I've certainly been through so many situations in my life where my mindset has gone, I've been there, done that, worn the T-shirt. It was like being bullied as well. I've been there and done it. Now I can move on from this. And time gives you that opportunity to be able to change your outcome. And that's
so weird. Kev, it's so weird you say this because I did 23 years ago when the twins were born, had a huge car crash. I got T-boned at 60 miles an hour. Oh. My car was split in two.
Wow.
Literally, had I had a passenger, they would be dead because the passenger side of the car came beyond the handbrake. You know, you got the handbrake between the seats. The car physically came beyond that. They would have been killed. And I had to learn to walk again. And I wouldn't stop. I thought I could be fine. And then eventually they thought I had a ruptured spleen. And the doctor came round to my house and said, Russell, please sit down. And he said, no, sit down now. I've got to be honest with you. If you move again, you could die. And I went, what? He said, don't move off the chair. They called the ambulance and I was blue lighted away, and the rest, I had to learn to walk again and all the rest of it. That's why my back goes peculiar. People know. So yeah, it's a mindset, but I was determined to keep, going. I had to keep going, you know. Andrea Lucas, positivity is the key. Ignore negative comments and people.
But Russ, you didn't turn around and say to yourself, oh, do you know what? The doctor's right. I'm going to sit on the chair for the rest of my life. You didn't say that, did you?
No, I did take the advice, because he went ashen. He actually thought I was going to die at that spot because he thought my spleen was ruptured. I was in horrific pain. And I'd kept going after, it's typical me. I kept going after the car crash. I got out, the car was totally destroyed. My wife's in hospital, the kids are in another hospital. I'm just keeping going. And eventually I completely collapsed. I couldn't move. But my mind kept saying, you got to keep going. Of course, I ended up in hospital, and that was the end of it. Chrissy Holt from Spain, it is mindset. I have osteoarthritis in all the joints, pain, but keep walking, doing things. No tablets. My friend is the opposite. Oh, Kev, isn't this interesting? In a wheelchair, says can't walk. Has everything wrong, but a lot is in the mind. Just given up. Poor hubby has to do everything for her.
That's
Couldn't
really
agree more.
That's
I
so
totally agree on that. Totally agree on that. And I say this, and I'm actually studying it a lot with some of the Wayne Dyer courses that I'm doing. That actually, he says we are born with everything we need to heal. So when we cut ourselves, our skin immediately sends the white cells there, and they and it heals, it closes up, and then a little bit of a scab, and then you're back to normal again. We have the ability to heal our entire body, no matter what we develop. We have the ability, but certain things are more aggressive than others, as we know. And I lost my father-in-law to cancer, but only on the 3rd or 4th attempt. The guy kept beating it because he had this great mindset, this positive mindset. And it just got to the point where he got older and he got weaker. And I think then it became more aggressive and then took him, unfortunately.
Same as my dad.
Yeah.
Same as my dad.
I think it is also a case of a question of that level of ability to heal versus sort of how much or how strong or how superfluous the actual disease is. So in other words, if you have something, heaven forbid, like cancer that develops at a faster, more rapid rate and a more aggressive rate than one's own body is able to heal, then honestly, you kind of do understand why sometimes medical intervention is necessary. Absolutely. But what I would suggest is that far too often people are keen for medical intervention, but it's not always necessary.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think people go there. Fear. There you go. It's fear again.
Veronica Curran up in Edinburgh says it's all about taking responsibility for yourself and making a change. Kev, love it. Here you go. Now, Andrea Lucas says this. My daughter, who is extremely unwell, had major spinal surgery. Otherwise, she would have been a paraplegic. Dear God, Andy, that's awful.
Wow.
But she has her dog and gets up every day and takes him for a walk. She's incredibly strong and positive.
And you know what? That girl, Andrea, your daughter should talk to other people. You should do a video and blast it on Facebook, on Instagram, to get it out there, because that's the mentality that people with more ability than your daughter right now don't have.
Yeah. Kimmy Lashmar, who oddly enough was my very first passenger on the Flying Eye. Isn't that weird? Liking Kev with a heart.
Thank you, Kimmy.
Well, that's easy enough. There you go. We won someone over. Well done.
We have won someone over.
It is amazing, though, isn't it? I'm going to ask you something, a slightly sideways question. All right. And this is my...
That's a sideways question.
Shut up, Phil, you twat. One day.
My dog does that, actually.
Oh, yeah, Ebony does that. Do you want to go out? No, I don't think so. She goes back to bed. Right, Kev, you've pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. You're a successful guy. Do you think it is a British disease to be jealous? It's a different subject, but
where did that come from?
I tell you what. I tell you why. Because I think it is a British disease. Instead of saying, now we're kind of, the people who are watching and listening to the show, they're all over the world, as you've gathered, all different walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds. There's, nothing in common, but they want their lives to be improved, or they want to make it as best as they can. And they've been fantastic. It's like a family, right? But I've often thought that the British disease is to try and tear down somebody when they're successful.
Up there, yeah.
It's like, why do they? Is it because they feel inadequate, or he's done it and I haven't, and I must hate him? He must be a swine. What is that?
You know what? I think that's a really interesting question, and I can only give it as an example more than actually answering the question in full. And I would say for that particular question, when you are in America, you can be a performer. And I'm going to give the prime example of Will Smith, right? Yeah, compared to Americans. Yeah. When you go to America, Will Smith started off as a TV star.
Yeah, Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Then he became a pop star and a hip-hop artist. Yeah. Then he went into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went into TV shows. He did a load of other stuff. Then he opened up his own production company. Then he started producing music for other artists with Jamie Foxx. And he did all these other projects and whatever. Suddenly, Will Smith, the brand Will Smith, has probably about 10 or 15 different niches to his name, and including clotheslines, trainer lines, this, that, the full works. Now, if Will Smith was born in England, he would only have one niche to his name.
Totally, completely. Can I sum this up? I'm so resonating with me, Kev. I'll tell you what. This was my dad. He died 20 years ago. But I said, Dad, I really love Stephen Fry. Nah. And I said, why don't you like Stephen Fry? Too clever. He said, he's too clever. And I went, but he's funny, he's witty, he can be serious, he can act, he can write, he can, do music, me and my girl. All of these things, bring it all the way back to your poster at the front end of our chat.
That's right.
And all of these things. No, and my dad's attitude was, no, you do get, why is it that the British have to pigeonhole you? Is it because they don't feel comfortable? You're absolutely right. Will Smith can do all sorts of different things. And people go, yeah, that's fine. So it's not just Will Smith, the bloke from Fresh Prince.
I wonder if it's jealousy or if it's intimidation.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Possibly. Look at James Corden. If James Corden was stuck in the UK, I don't know if he would have had the same opportunities as he did going to America and then doing films, late night TV chat shows, hosting massive gala events. I don't know if he would have had the opportunity.
No, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have. No, it's James Corden. It's an interesting thing because people over here, that we both worked in America, I did my stand-up over there, etc. And I used to live in America and work there as well. People over here go, let's put aside whether he's a nice person or not. I don't have to deal with that. Just talk about it professionally. All right. We'll leave his personality to one side. People go, oh, James Corden. Blah, blah, blah. And I go, do you have any idea how hard it must be for a Brit who looks overweight in a land where looks are everything? He's overweight, he's unprepossessing, and he's got a huge hit show following, in the process of all those other big late night talk shows. And all the stars want to be on it.
Anton Deck didn't make it. Bruce Forsyth didn't make it. Des O'Connor didn't make it. Phil, what's his name? Sorry, Piers Morgan. He kind of made it because of the fact that, But yeah, look at all the people that tried and failed.
Well, I used to take some of the English acts over there occasionally, and I'm not going to mention any names. And they'd have interviews. On the show reel, there'd be interviews with Madonna. And over there, went, yeah. So
let Gemma Collins go over. Do you know what? We laugh. Yeah. But if she did, and she got the right format, she could have the same show as Kim Kardashian.
Oh, God help us.
Christ.
Yeah, I know.
Kill me now.
Yeah, I remember. I'll never forget. Right at the start of the pandemic, Boris Johnson warned us all. He said, "Look," he said, throughout this pandemic, it's not going to be easy, and many loved ones will die. Ever since that day, I've loved Gemma Collins.
Oh.
Sorry, did I just say it out loud? I'm so sorry.
Were you thinking that? Did you think you said that, or did you think that was your internal monologue?
That was bitter.
He's a very.
It's
bitter.
not bitter. Do me a favor.
He's a very bitter twist. That's why I like him.
I'm perfectly sure Gemma Collins will survive. She speaks very highly of me as well.
Oh, okay.
She could have you for lunch.
Side salad, more like.
Couple of. It could be a starter. Bless her. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to do fat shaming and all of that. But don't say that diets don't work if you don't keep.
I was going to say diets don't work if you don't go on one.
No, I'm not going to go there. I really don't want to dilute the conversation with things which are just not important. Which is that I think the points you've made, Kev, have been absolutely belters today. But it is, but bitterness, and I always think of and you must have come across this with artists you've looked after or artists you've known. And I've said it before. It's the guy standing on the steps of Carnegie Hall in New York. And he's going, sure, look at all these people coming to see Fred Jones play the violin. I'm better than Fred. I'm better. I don't know why they come. Yeah, but the thing is, he's gone and done it. And you're standing on the steps bitching about it. He's gone and done it.
That's right. That's right. You've nailed it again. Russ, you've nailed it again. It's all well and good thinking about it, right? And then, as we say, think, believe, take action, achieve. The take action is the bit that people miss.
I think the other thing as well is a lot of people believe, for whatever ridiculous reason, that all the people who are successful in life, one way or another, have had everything handed to them on a plate. And it may well be the case that some people have been handed things, but very rarely is it the case that everyone you stumble across who is successful in their chosen field has had things handed to them.
Totally. Jeff Bezos is a prime example. This is the man that actually was on his knees packing up parcels to send on Amazon, right? Packing parcels until someone said, why don't you buy some tables and you don't have to be on your knees anymore? And he went, all right then. So they bought some tables, carried on packing all the stuff. This is the man that took a business from an idea and a concept to being the richest man on the planet. Okay. Now, with all due respect, he took action. He didn't just sit there and go, oh, I hope it happens. He took action.
Definitely.
It is true, and there's no point standing there with the old British attitude. That's why people do get upset and do get jealous. Kev, it's been great. I hope you come back because I know you travel a lot. So, by the way, now we've got you. You're the first person we've had who's been on the ships and now off during this. Yeah. Following this, just talk us through.
Oh yeah, you said Queen Mary's changed. You've got to tell us that first.
Queen Elizabeth. So the Queen Mary is not going out till November, and Queen Victoria is going out in May next year. Queen Elizabeth, I've just been on it for a week, and I can tell you, they have got it spot on. Okay, so no more buffet. There's no more buffets left on the ship. So everything is dining.
Oh,
no, it's a good thing. No, hold on. It's a good thing, right? Because I spoke to the maitre d'. They've saved 70% of waste on people putting food on their plate.
Wow. Oh, I hate that. Why do they do that? They pile it up and you think, pig.
I know. So everything is dining now, right? So you get a menu and there's a good vast amount of food on there. And you choose what you want and you eat it and blah, blah, blah. That works for breakfast, lunch and dinner. But they've got a great cabin menu now, so you can actually stay in your cabin and eat as well, which they encourage, of course. So everything's done. You have to walk around with a mask on the ship, unless you're outside, then you don't. But on the ship, you have to walk around with a mask until you get to a place where you sit down and you're going to drink. And that's that. So they've got it down to a T. They only allow 550 people into a 1,000-seater theatre. They cut off certain areas. You have to watch the show with a mask, but in the Queen's room, which is the one where you can have a drink, you can take your mask off and you can enjoy a cabaret and watch the entertainment.
So two quick questions. If you're doing, it's a serious question. Number one, if you're doing comedy and people are wearing a mask, how does that work?
You hear them.
Can you still hear them through? I'm being absolutely no, I'm not being facetious.
Absolutely, yeah. That you hear them and you hear the clapping. So where you get a restriction, and you want to show affection to the performer or whatever, rather than just laughing or whatever, which they did to me anyway. I mean, a lot of people laughed and everyone enjoyed themselves, but then they applaud. And another way they show their affection to me is by just standing up and giving me an ovation to say, we really enjoyed it. I know you probably didn't hear us very well, but Kev, look, thank you. That kind of thing.
And what was the atmosphere? Because we've discussed the word fear a lot. It's an interesting theme that's come. Were people nervous to be on the ship, or were they just like, thank God we're on a ship and get away from all this crap?
Totally, Russ. Second, the latter. You get a lateral flow test before you get on the ship. And if it tests is positive, you go home. They don't care. They'll give you your money back. But if you test negative, you get on the ship and you're
Is that when you look at, I don't know, Southampton, or I'm making
it was Southampton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you turn up there and you have the test on the spot. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally. In the ocean terminal.
Is it included, or is that separate? Did you have to pay separately for that?
No, there's no payment for that. It's all done for you. It's part of your deal.
Wow.
And where is, because I'm still confused by this. I'm so sorry. I know but you are a bit of a cruise expert. Is it going around Britain, or can you now go elsewhere? Because I know Jeff was going like round Britain. I thought, well,
exactly what I did. So you leave Southampton, up to Land's End, up north towards Belfast, then up further north towards Scotland. You do all the little islands in Scotland, which was stunning, by the way. Then they come back down. So you go south, down through those other rocky areas, go through past Liverpool, and then come down back to Land's End, and then back to Southampton. The whole thing 7 days, and you don't get off the ship once.
Oh, I like.
Oh, wow!
I kind of like that. So you're just looking at the view, and you're chilling and you're relaxing, and that's it. So it doesn't stop.
Personally,
you're not. You're working, but it doesn't stop. You don't go, let's explore this island or anything like that.
No, you don't get off the ship once.
Okay, Kimmy Lashmar says this. I need to know more about Kev. I think you're in there, Kev. To be honest with you,
I think I am. Kimmy's a nice name as well.
Well, she's an attractive woman.
Is she? Wow.
Missed the beginning. Was feeding my mother. Don't ask. Oh God, Kimmy, Jesus.
Might I suggest, Kimmy, you'll be delighted to hear that all programs on Men's Radio are available to watch indefinitely again whenever you feel like it. You simply go to the YouTube channel, just do a search for Men's Radio Station. Did you know that?
Watch it whenever you like. Does he have a Facebook thingy or something? Nice to know you're getting on with tech there, Kimmy. Does Kev have a Facebook thingy?
Well, please do answer that, Kev. Do you have a Facebook thingy?
Sorry. Kimmy, you're killing me today.
It's just my name. So Kev Orkian is on Facebook. Kev Orkian is on Instagram. Kev Orkian on Twitter. I don't use Twitter much anymore. Do you? I don't. I use Instagram.
I'm not on. Well, I put on a hazmat suit when I go onto Twitter, because it's like swimming through a sewer some days, and I just do what I have to do, and I just do some gags, and I reach out to various people, and I get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as I can, because otherwise you go down that rabbit hole. Jeez. And at some point, I need to talk to you about Clubhouse, but we're not going to do it now. I'm very interested.
We'll definitely do that. Yeah, I'll come back. I've loved this. It's been a really, really good interview. I've actually this is the most relaxed and bloody good interview I've done in a long time. So it's been great.
Kind.
Thank you.
You're very kind.
I would suggest that an interview is only ever as good as an interviewee makes it. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're he's silky smooth.
Threw a golden nugget down there. Did you see that?
Yeah, he ends it on a high.
Kind of you,
I am fluent in schmooze. Don't mind me.
Yes, yeah. Kev Orkian, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Take care.
Farewell, Kev.
Bye. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
See?
Well, there you go.
Great guest. Guest. Marvellous.
That was a very quick hour and 20 having a chat with him, you know.
How long were we talking for?
1 hour, 20 minutes.
Good God, that's the longest we've ever had with any guest.
Yep.
It's because when you touch on things that really, really...
And it never ran dry.
Not at all. We could have talked about loads of other things. There's by the way, if you've never seen his act, absolutely hilarious. And I can tell you, when I saw his act, it was Chris Tarrant's birthday. It was a big surprise. It was his 70th birthday a few years back, and it was a huge surprise. And he
Jules
walked in.
Silverman says, "How do you spell his name? Can't find on the Facebook thingy."
Can you stop, you guys?
His name is Kev, so very simply Kev, shortened for Kevin, I assume. And Orkian is Orkian. Orkian.
Okay, there you go, Kev Orkian. He's in the business, very, very well, very well known. But he sat at the piano. He was absolutely, and it was a tough crowd because there was a lot of pros in the audience, and he absolutely nailed it. It's hilarious. Kev Orkian there. Oh yes, I catch up when I miss it, says Kimmy Lashmar. So there we are. Thanks, says Kimmy. So you got all the details that you need. Out of all of this, a positive mental attitude, PMA, is so important. If you take away all, Phil, if you take away all the Californian complete nonsense, and if you take away all the hoo-ha and the snake oil salesmen and the people who've made fortunes out of peddling what is blatantly bloody obvious and writing endless tomes about it, it's the truth is that nugget of truth is a positive mental attitude, because you decide every morning when you get up what kind of day you're going to have, unless you get hit by a bus and something stupid, a piano falls on your head. That's not in your control, but you can decide pretty much if you're going to have a good day or a shit day. It's up to you. It's up to you how you approach everything. Is everything with a negative, you're going to have a rotten day. You're going to have a pretty lousy life. If you look at everything, people say, "Oh, Russ, you're quite childish sometimes." Like, I take that as the greatest compliment. The greatest. They think they're being insulting. I think they're being really complimentary. And I'll tell you why I think that. Being childish keeps you young. Doesn't mean I'm not a realist, but it also, I never want to stop learning. And I do find I still have the thing that we're supposed not to have as adults, which is a sense of wonder. I still have a sense of wonder. I see something.
Do you really, wait. You think we're not supposed to have a sense of wonder?
No, I think it's meant to be drummed out of you so that you're just blasé about everything. And I'm not. I see things, or I'm walking around the street or something happens, and it's like I have a childish sense of wonder about it. I want to know more about it. I find it exciting. I find it interesting or stimulating, and I get and people go, "You're so you're enthusiastic." I go, "Yeah."
Now this is a wonder for you. This is an absolute wonder. That's one. Kimmy says that's one of the many thingies I love about this show. The positive quests you have.
Oh God.
Oh, and Phil's jokes. Well, Kimmy, might I suggest that I'm afraid you haven't been exposed to much humor in your life, but I appreciate you saying it all the same.
Just thinking, 1984, I could have opened the door of that plane.
1984.
Could have been. Shut. If you say I wasn't born, just shut up. Just shut up.
Kimmy, by the way, meant guests.
You weren't born.
Quests.
You weren't born in 1984, were you?
I was not, no.
So I was already the flying eye in 1984. You weren't even born.
Correct.
God, that's depressing.
That happened 2 years later.
Jesus, that is so depressing. I was watching a lot of I've been watching a lot of videos about and documentaries about Kiss. I've become rather obsessed about the American band Kiss. Loads and loads of documentaries and concerts and everything. And I start looking at their old stuff, and I was just sitting watching it late last night. It was an early concert of theirs from Cabo Hall in Detroit. And I realized it was 46 years ago.
Oh,
46 years ago. They're still on the road. And of course, I was thinking, people are
that's some traffic jam. My God.
And it's like, it's interesting. People go, "Oh, they should start." Yeah, because Gene Simmons is now like 71. Paul Stanley's high six. I think Paul's 68. Paul Stanley's 69. yeah, they can't do what they were 24, but they're still putting on a fantastic show. Still a great show. They're doing the final tour again, but I think they've said this is it because they just can't put in that sort of touring schedule anymore. You know.
Yeah, they've gone from smoking joints to massaging joints. It's not the same.
Yay! Funny enough, Gene Simmons has never done drugs. He doesn't drink either. Doesn't
drink?
No, he doesn't drink. Doesn't drink
my
alcohol.
God!
That's all. Has never drunk. And,
wow!
Has never done drugs ever.
Seriously, can you imagine going for 71 years, never touching a drop? That's amazing.
But he is worth $400 million, so it's a good trade-off.
Oh, so maybe he's done something right.
So you've got a lovely whiskey collection, but you're not worth $400 million. Neither are you married to Shannon Tweed.
True.
Who I think would kill you in about 20 minutes.
Chantal, have we got it all wrong? Is it all about wine? Is there an alcohol? Should we have done this differently somehow?
Everything is all about wine. The world should be all about wine.
There you go. You don't need any more than that. That's all we need from Chantal. The world should be about
we'll be back on Monday. We'll be back Monday.
Can't get any better than that. That's all we need.
No, wine it is. And it's wine week for me because I've just come back from France. So I've been having a little glass in every port I've visited.
Wow. Oh, Kimmy's already upset with you, Chantal, because no topless men there today.
Stop it.
No. Topless man, I think, is still in bed. So there is a possible chance of him wandering into the backup shot at any moment. That would be great.
Well, you know, every female viewer of Men's Radio, we're going, yes, he's back. That hunk. Who is, of course, Chantal.
You don't actually need to make Chantal feel so awkward about talking about her son in that capacity. So will you stop it, the lot of you? What's the matter with you?
He's a handsome fellow, and the girls all went wild for him. So there you go. What do you want? It's life. You just got to embrace it.
I don't like objectifying men or women. I think it's terrible.
Oh, spare me. He came on. It's his fault. I was thinking about you, Chantal. There's a picture going.
Should I leave?
No, well, into everyone's life, a little rain must fall. So it's all those that don't objectify women. And then Chantal has done about 100,000 red carpet events. And when some actress, the blokes turn up looking, in a tux or something, then some actress turns up in wearing about 3 bits of Kleenex, and you think, don't objectify me. What the hell? You're wearing nothing. I just find that just confusing. Let me just say confusing. It's a mixed message.
As you know, I was in Hollywood during the time of Me Too, and I did find that really peculiar, this whole idea of, women not wanting to be hit on, and I get that. I completely get it. But then on the other hand, when they are walking down the red carpet in 3 pieces of Kleenex, then you suddenly go, I'm not sure that sort of quite works. But anyway, probably not for me to comment on that.
It's very interesting. That whole, we could devote an hour just to the whole Me Too movement and the hypocrisy of some of it, and the absolute correctness of a lot of it. So it's like everything in life. It's not just black and white. It's not that simple.
I love Chantal. You should note Kimmy has taken me very seriously. She says, sorry, Chantal. Looking forward to your suggestions. Apart from Apple, which I don't have. So there you
go. There we go. Right. So welcome back from La Belle, France.
Well, thank you for that. I did just very briefly want to take issue with the last conversation with Kev, because I wasn't entirely following the argument about Brits not being successful and not making something of themselves, because actually there are so many brilliant people, particularly in the arts world, who have transformed their impact on the world by moving to Hollywood. And also, if you're thinking about brands, you've got to think about Virgin, you've got to think about Dyson. These were really amazing human beings who created businesses that spiraled into wonderful, wonderful things. So I didn't entirely agree with the sort of slight downer that had come into the conversation. But anyway,
if I might suggest, I don't think it's so much a downer on the Brits, because they're very high flying Brits, not least, love them or loathe them. The Beckhams are perfect examples of that. Make no mistake. Okay. This is not about denigrating Brits. It's more about what constitutes as the default attitude here, what constitutes as the default attitude in America. In America, it's champion the underdog. It's living the dream. It's amazing. Over here, it's, he's got money. He should give it away. And that's what I don't like.
Okay. No, fair enough. And although I don't normally defend James Corden particularly, but actually James Corden he was a movie star, he was a TV star, and he was a star of stage and screen before he went anywhere near America. So he had absolutely made it over here, because he's a clever guy and he's a brilliant performer. And it wasn't America that turned him into a chat show host. I mean, it was America that turned him into a chat show host, but he'd got a lot of fantastic, credible stuff that he'd done in his career in the UK before he went to America, because the guy who ran CBS saw him in One Man, Two Governors in New York, which was the stage play that he did in the UK. And when it transferred to New York, Les Moonves saw him there and originally offered him a sitcom, which James turned down. And then he said, I really want you to work for CBS. And that's how they came up with the idea of the chat show.
That is extraordinary. Wow. But you're proving the point that the Americans would give the chance, where over here, because it's something different. In other words, it's not dancing, singing. You're not on the West End stage. You're not doing a sitcom. It would be more constricted because they prefer to pigeonhole you. I think that was that was where we were kind of going with that. But anyway, we digress.
We do.
Oh, hang on. Here's a question for you from Veronica Curran up in Edinburgh. Is it not more that our fabulous Brit entertainment won't do American humour? Not sure I follow that, Veronica. Do you want to explain that a bit better? The humour's very, very different. I prefer American humour. That's just me. I just do.
Oh, anyway. Really? Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so talking about the Hollywood elite, Benedict Cumberbatch is one of those people who's gone from being a sort of funny-faced actor in the UK, not blessed for his sort of Hollywood movie star look, but he is a brilliant actor. I'm digging myself into an early grave.
Nothing, I'm just going to phone JCB. They can bring one round to dig you out of it. Don't worry. You can.
Okay, perfect. But he is in a brand new movie that I have seen this week. So I've been back to the cinema again. Ooh. And last night saw something called The Courier, which has been out only a few days, and is definitely worth going to see. It's not the best Cold War espionage movie ever made, but it is a true story, which always gives an extra layer to a film. When you know it's from a true story, you sort of forgive the bits that don't quite work. But actually, it's good. He is good. Jessie Buckley plays his wife. He is a salesman. He was a salesman. He plays this character, Greville Wynn, who was just a salesman of machine parts, and gets approached by Rachel Brosnahan, who is the lovely American actress that we know from Mrs. Maisel. And she's a sort of Jane Blonde, if you like, as opposed to a James Bond. She works for the CIA, and she approaches him to become a courier of secrets between a very high up ranking guy in the Politburo, and bringing those secrets to England, and then they go on to America after that.
Sure. Could you imagine how short that would be if they discovered WhatsApp?
Indeed. If they'd only had WhatsApp or Telegram, all of this could have been got through very, very quickly. But actually, it's all basically around the Cuban Missile Crisis, because the Brits and the Americans are desperately trying to find out whether Russia is going to place missiles in Cuba. So it's really a story about the friendship between the two guys on either side, the British guy and the Russian. It's very well played. At the end of it, you see a sort of physical transformation of Cumberbatch. I won't go into why, because that would sort of give the game away. But he's a very intense actor, and he's always worth watching. So this, I would say, is a sort of 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely worth going to see. It's not the best espionage movie you'll ever see, but it's a great piece of history, and the acting is good.
I've seen the trailers for it, and the trailers, they're beautifully made. I saw that the trailers were coming out like months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's so skewed, isn't it? But they look great. I thought, ooh, that looks good.
It was shown originally at the Sundance Festival last year, in 2020, the beginning of 2020, and has been sitting on a shelf pretty much ever since. Came out in the US 4 or 5 months ago, but it's just been released here in the UK.
And remind us the name.
It's called The Courier, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Jessie Buckley, and is definitely worth seeing. Yeah. The cinema last night on the Fulham Road was half full. Some wearing masks, some not wearing masks, but it was as busy as I've seen a cinema in 2 years, probably.
And how did you feel? I'm sorry, but I always like to bring it down to the personal level. How did you feel sitting in a cinema and some people not wearing masks? I'm curious.
Fine. I mean, I kept my mask on. No, I kept my mask on. A lot of other people didn't, but it didn't bother me. I sat away from other people anyway. I don't like to hear people talking. You know, one of the wonderful things about having been a BAFTA member for so long is that when you go to BAFTA screenings, which are for the members only, you are not allowed to talk. And you're not allowed to sort of rattle sweet bags and things. So I've been very spoiled in the last 6 or 7 years to have watched every single film I've seen with complete peace and quiet around me.
Lovely. I think you told me.
You see, I think I'd enjoy the cinema if I had that experience. I get so wound up by the behavior of others that that's one of the reasons I don't even enjoy it. And also, why is it? I don't know if it's just me. Cinemas on the whole, they stink. I don't care what anyone says. They are so poorly ventilated. They just honk. What on earth is the matter with them? Absolutely. Haven't they heard of Febreze? Oh God, it's just terrible. Anyway.
Oh.
Well, here's a pop quiz question for you. By the way, I think you once told me, I'm not mentioning any no names at all, but a BAFTA member, because of bad behavior, you can be asked to either to leave or not invited anymore. That's how much they want people to behave. Wouldn't that be lovely if life was like that?
What? I could think of several situations.
Yes. Now, you know, my mate Colin Vaines told me this last Saturday. Do you remember the Odeon chain?
Yes, which still exists.
Still around. Do you mean remember it?
Okay. What does Odeon stand for?
Oh, no, hang on. Oh, no, I don't
know.
No, don't do your Google thing.
No, I'm not Googling it, please, because I did. No, hang on.
I was thinking it must have come from the Greek.
This is going to really annoy me because I did know this. I swear to you.
Has it not come from the Greek word?
I'm so sorry. Oh, you were.
Is it something like on demand?
No. It was started by a guy called Oscar Deutsch. This is all from Colin Vaines, and I just found it fascinating. Oscar Deutsch. Odeon stands for Oscar Deutsch Entertains Our Nation.
I promise you, I knew it was
the weirdest thing ever. I never knew. He said, "What do you think Odeon means?" Well, I don't know. I thought it was like a Greek thing or something. No, Oscar Deutsch entertains our nation.
Yeah, I absolutely. Whether you believe this or not, I don't mind. But I promise you, I knew it was an acronym. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Oh, well, that's great. I didn't know that.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? Weird, isn't it? There we go. Okay, what else has come across your purview?
So we have talked about the repair shop sort of ad nauseam on this program because we all love it. And it is a great getaway, but it's now got a spin-off. Its first ever spin-off with Jay Blades, who is the sort of front man of the repair shop. He's the furniture restorer, and actually he has a workshop or has created a workshop.
Flat cap.
Yes, he's the one who has the cap.
The big artistic glasses and the cap.
He is. Right. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So he has created something called Jay's Yorkshire Workshop, which is pretty much, does what it says on the tin. But he's got a team of manufacturers who mainly work in wood, and they create a piece of either furniture or something for somebody in the community who's done something wonderful. So at the beginning, you get somebody who comes in to nominate why they want a piece of furniture made for this very special person. So it's quite sort of cute. It's quite, it's very feel good. Everything about it is very feel good. And in the first episode, a piece of furniture is made for people at a nursing home who moved in with the elderly at the nursing home during COVID. They left their own families, and 8 women went and lived with their the people that they were looking after. Gosh. And then the second story is about a gift for a young man who had given away half his liver to a completely unknown person who was on the transplant list and was about to die. And this young man donated half a liver because the liver can regenerate. So you get these wonderful sort of feel-good stories, but then you get very, very intricate understanding of how a piece of furniture is made. And of course, you've got great characters telling you about the lathes and the wood and the this and that. But actually, it's very much in the same vein of the repair shop. It's a lovely 1 hour. It's made by the BBC for BBC Two. They've only done 6 episodes so far, which started last week. So we'll see whether it gets recommissioned or not. But my feeling is it probably will get recommissioned because it's really nice, gentle telly that the BBC is so good at.
It's so interesting because this goes, you and I were having private chats about some ideas that I had. And it's so interesting because they must have said, right, we want to do a spin-off because we've got a winner here. What's the extra flavor? What's the extra ingredient we can give it that makes sense? So giving it to people who are whoever thought that up, that's smart.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought of that. That's very clever. Yeah. That's very clever.
And I would suggest actually that Jay Blades is have you ever watched another one of his programs called Money for Nothing?
No, I haven't actually.
Now, Money for Nothing is not exclusively presented by him. He is one of the presenters. And actually, there was another person who, oh, gracious me. What's the name? There's another presenter who did present it. There's Sarah. I can't remember what her surname is. And then there was a third presenter, EJ. That was it. EJ. Can't remember the surname. Anyway, EJ, who was one of the presenters, was, I think, if not one of the first, if not the first transsexual female to male daytime presenter for the BBC.
EJ Moore says birthday girl.
No, I think she means that maybe Moore is Sarah's surname.
No, I don't know.
It might be Sarah Moore. But anyway.
Plot.
But is it EJ Evans, perhaps?
Anyway, don't care. Move.
Well, you should care because unfortunately, well, you will care when this is going to.
Oh God, they got a horrible, sad ending now.
This is going to stick you in your place because EJ Evans died about a year ago, so very unexpectedly. So there you go.
Was a lathe involved?
Anyway.
You don't know the dangerous things. Those circular saws are bloody scary.
Unbelievable. How does anyone think I'm the inappropriate one? I'm trying to pay tribute to a really great daytime presenter here, and you're anyway. No. Anyway, the point is though that the money for nothing is where
chicks for free.
Yes. Money for Nothing is where they go to one of the presenters will go to the local tip and they will catch people about to throw something away.
I love that idea.
Rather than let them throw it away, they regenerate. They actually repurpose it and then they sell it on and they try and make a profit out of it.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. I produced a TV series probably 20 years ago called Street Comas, which was very much the same idea. So that one village every Saturday morning, people would put out onto the street in front of their house bits of furniture and stuff that they didn't want, but they didn't want to throw away. And then people would come round the village and go, well, I'll have that and I'll have that and I'll have that. And we then sent in a sort of painting squad who would take a chair over there and something over there, and everybody would end up with a piece of furniture that had been repainted and just sort of brought back to life. And actually, I still think it's a brilliant idea. In Australia, I think they have one Saturday a month where stuff that you don't want, you put out in front of your home so that other people can come along and street comb, which I think is brilliant because we shouldn't be throwing stuff away.
There'll be so many husbands
we do that in this country, but we do that in this country. But I would suggest the main reason people leave the stuff outside their front door so other people could nick it is because the councils charge far too much to take it away. But anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. By the way, it was EJ Osborne, by the way. EJ Osborne,
right.
Kimmy Lashmar says, I love Nick Knowles, but agree these sort of programs can't hurt.
No, Exactly.
Right.
And Nick Knowles is coming back with a new makeover show for Channel 5 in the autumn. I don't know what it's called, but Nick will be back on our screens soon.
Wow.
Yep.
He's done all right. He's done all right because he seems, I've met him as you have loads of times, but it's pretty much exactly the same bloke that you doesn't kind of put on a big hoo-ha. Money for nothing, says Andrea Lucas. Money for nothing, and the original owner gets the profit.
Yeah. So in other words, when they recondition one of the items, they then go back and meet the person who was throwing out this item, and then give them whatever profit was made from the reconditioning of their furniture or their item.
Do this here, Chantal. I think we should patent this. I think we should do this with relationships. It'd be brilliant. You get your partner or husband or wife or whatever, and you think, I can't bear it. Somebody comes along and they're blissfully happy, and then you see the person who's given away their wife or whatever going, damn, she's happy and living in the south of France and she looks great.
I think that was a program on Channel 4 called Wife Swap, wasn't it?
I was
Very
successful. I often wonder if they ever wanted to swap back again.
That was so funny, that show. God almighty.
It was definitely a moment in time.
Okay.
Did they get axed when one couple who swapped ended up the new couple in inverted ended up actually having an affair? Wasn't that when it got the swing or something like that? I think the axe.
I don't know, but it sounds like a great story, but I'm not entirely sure. But actually, just whilst we're on that subject, in the same vein, I was going to tell you about
I'm washing the hair.
Changing rooms.
Yes, sorry.
Changing rooms.
No,
Changing rooms is back. Yes.
Which is sort of astonishing. I think it started in something crazy like the middle of the 90s and went on till 2003, 2004. I mean, a really, really long time ago. For those that don't know, and I'm not sure that we've ever mentioned it before, it was devised by somebody you know, Russ, very well, because I think he was at the same school that you were at.
We've been friends since we were 9. So
yes.
Now, Sir.
Sir Peter Bazalgette.
Sir Peter Bazalgette. Yeah, we've been friends since we were 9 years old. That's when we first met at school. Yeah.
96 it was created and ran till 2003 and brought us names that became household names, most particularly Carol Smiley and Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. Well, Carol Smiley isn't back, but Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen is back.
He is. Why is that?
His jokes aren't any better. His clothes are no better.
His clothes are probably the same ones, to be honest.
He's still a good television presenter. He knows how to work the camera. He's very good with people. It's co-presented by a woman called Anna Richardson, not Anna Ryder Richardson.
Oh, that's confusing.
Was known many years ago as a makeover presenter.
One of the designers, yeah.
This is a lady called Anna Richardson.
Hang on a second. Anna Richardson. Don't ask me how I know this, but isn't she the one who presents... Oh, did she present Channel 4's Naked Attraction?
She did. She's done quite a lot of those sort of slightly saucy later evening things on Channel 4.
Was Stacey Dooley not available?
It's clearly, well, there wasn't BBC, so Stacey probably wasn't available. But
yeah, there you go. Kimmy asked, "Is she from Naked Attraction?" Indeed, she was.
Yeah,
now, Kimmy, you must forgive me. You must forgive me, Kimmy. I need to correct you slightly with something. She says that Peter Andre presented it once. A lovely, lovely person. Kimmy, Peter Andre presented something called 60-Minute Makeover. It wasn't Changing Rooms. He didn't present Changing Rooms.
60-Minute Makeover was ITV daytime.
With Changing Rooms, though, I'm fairly sure, and I could be completely wrong because it was so flipping long ago that it was on screen. Well, obviously not now, but it was. Didn't Carol Smiley leave the original series and Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen presented the last of it?
Yes, Carol left before the end. Handy Andy, I think, was in it from beginning to end. People, I'm sure, will remember Handy Andy.
Is that the big guy? Is that the very big guy?
No, he was tiny. He was a little cockney.
I don't know who we're talking about.
I don't think he was cockney. I think he was from somewhere like southeast London, Tulse Hill or anyway. He eventually got his own TV shows as well. Carol left early. There were lots of other people that you may remember, like Linda Barker.
Oh, yes, Linda Barker. Blimey.
Yeah. The problem is everyone remembers Linda Barker for the teapot debacle. Linda Barker with the teapot debacle, because this, of course, is when one of the contestants on Changing Rooms had a collection of, I mean, revolting teapots doesn't even come into it. These horrible things, you know, the ones that they're all sorts of different caricatures, or they've all got different meanings behind them, but they're crafted in something else. I'm sorry, but that's what the word tacky was created for.
Oh dear.
But
even so, pottery.
But whatever the heck it was, she had a whole collection of these, which for some ridiculous reason meant a lot to her. Fine, no problem. And she said that she really wanted it to be a feature in the new room. Anyway, in the new room, what happened is that Linda Barker had created a series of floating shelves that were suspended from the ceiling using a series of cable lines, as it were. So, you know, the sort of the cable wire that you run, that's picture wire, if you will, but thicker. So cable lines running from floor to ceiling, and it had floating shelves all the way down it. They had just finished putting all the teapots on it, gone out the room just because they were pretty much done, and then suddenly you just hear on the recording, because you don't see it, but you hear on the recording an almighty crash.
Oh, wow.
The whole shelving unit collapsed and smashed virtually every single teapot en route.
It's just when you don't believe in God, he manifests himself.
I have to tell you, the room looks so much better.
I bet she went nuts. I bet she went
but actually it was shocking, seriously, because the contestants who actually did the makeover, in other words, their friends who'd swapped rooms with them, was they were bawling their eyes out in fear. They were really upset about it. And of course, Linda Barker had to go and sort of interrupt them working on their neighbor's room to tell them what had happened. It was cringe-worthy television, but brilliant.
I'm going to look it up. I don't remember it, but I am going to look it up.
That's killing.
Just look up Linda Barker teapots. That's all you need.
I've got a question for you. I've got a question. Smiley, Carol Smiley's not in it. And I think there's been some, a few words from her or intimations from her that she was upset she wasn't invited back. Is that... I have no idea. I don't know Carol Smiley at all. Is that ageism? Is it? Did she upset somebody? Is that they just want to move? Because it's like, it might be nice to have the original team back. You know, I think people probably like that.
In a way, I rather missed her. She was very. She was a great presenter, but she was very gentle with people, and she always had a beautiful smile on her face. And I did miss her, to be honest. The thing about Lawrence is great, but you always think there's a little bit of spite behind everything he says. There's a little bit of needle. And it's not as sort of warm and cuddly. I prefer warm and cuddly. But anyway, it's sort of interesting. If you like Changing Rooms, I'm sure you'll like it. But it hasn't really moved on in the 20 years it's been off telly. So it sort of begs the question is, why bother bringing it back in pretty much the same form it left us 20 years ago? Because it just didn't feel as though it had grown up in any way.
But can I suggest, though, that Carol Smiley, as we established before, did leave Changing Rooms?
She did.
It's not like she presented the last episode that we know from 2004.
There's been a minor ripple. That's all. Paul Claridge says, will they bring back Ground Force? Another Peter Bazalgette show, by the way. Ground Force, that was him as well.
Indeed. Ground Force, which made a mega star of Alan Titchmarsh and Charlie.
Charlie Dimmock.
Charlie the gardener. And I think was
Tommy Walsh. Tommy Walsh.
Tommy Walsh, that's right.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Who, by the way, I have to tell you, lucky enough to have met Tommy through work. One of the nicest guys, seriously.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Great fundraiser. Does lots of charitable work.
Now he's
very nice man.
I was thinking of. He's the big fellow. He's big guy.
So unbelievably down to earth, as in just... I know it sounds daft, but you'd never know he'd even been on television. That's how down to earth he is.
Yeah. That's nice bloke. Very nice bloke.
Pleasant surprise, as opposed to, do you know who I am? No, I'm faintest idea.
Do you remember who I am?
Yeah,
not that at all.
That's it. Right.
Or as I once said to someone, do you know who my father is? And they said, no, have you tried asking your mother?
Very good answer. I like that.
The thing is, people think, I bet he didn't say it. No, Phil, no, he would have said that. Trust me, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. I'd have just gone out into the corridor and punched the wall and then come back and smiled. Phil just says it. Right.
Can't be bothered.
One for the history buffs. If you are, I mean, the story has been done and redone and overdone, I think. But if you are a major history buff, particularly Henry VIII, then there is a new 3-part series on the BBC, on BBC Two, about the Boleyn family, just about the Boleyn family and about how they grew in importance and how Anne Boleyn became the second wife of Henry VIII. It's a dramatized documentary with lots of experts. It's erudite. It's interesting.
Ooh.
It's only a 3-parter. I think if it was going to be any more than 3 parts, I probably wouldn't stay with it the whole way because it's ram-packed with information. So if you're doing a history degree, particularly around that time of our development, it's absolutely one to watch. So that one for the history buffs, BBC Two, and it's just simply called The Boleyn.
It's amazing how Henry VIII still, out of all the kings and queens of this wonderful country, Henry VIII still fascinates people.
Well, there's not really been any other that's been quite so keen to drag someone up the aisle. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There is that, but it's a fascinating. I can't think of any other. Maybe Elizabeth I, bless, who's been portrayed in so many films and TV shows, etc. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Although I would suggest as well, actually, though, the way that actually Henry VIII is a very good excuse, a very good answer when people say something to me or others, when they say, oh, you're too young to remember that. And let's say they make some sort of reference to culture from about 40, 50 years ago, something along those lines. Oh, you're too young to remember that. I'd like to think we're all too young to remember Henry VIII, but we still knew who he was.
Some mornings I think I work with him. Paul Andrews says, my hidden Netflix favorite this week has got to be Scorpion. Think of the A-Team with brains. Oh my God, I love that. Pity the fool. Ain't getting no damn plane. A fun action series about geniuses working for Homeland Security. Oh God, that sounds great.
That sounds good.
If it's the A-Team with brains, don't you think the response probably would be something all along the lines of, I can't help but empathize with that poor individual?
Yeah.
No, that won't be. It's still be
Okay. Can I suggest, by the way, that Netflix, by the way, have got, even though they always have my respect, they've got it even more now because they've just put the entire collection of Downton Abbey on there. If you have not seen Downton Abbey, for heaven's sakes, please watch it. It is without doubt one of the finest dramas that's come out of this country for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's been a massive international success. There has already been one movie spin-off that came out about 2.5 years ago. The second one is being filmed this summer. I was talking recently to Leslie Nichol, who plays Mrs. Patmore.
Mrs. Patmore.
Yeah.
Who can't cook in real life?
Since she can't cook at all, I think it's hilarious.
So I know that she filmed some of her early scenes, I think, at the beginning of May. And I think they're due to wrap filming soon if they haven't already. I don't know what the storyline is. As far as I know, they haven't really leaked anything yet. But that'll be one that will arrive on our screens hopefully soon, and we'll all be back at the cinema to watch it. But I'm not sure when. I'll look it up.
Have we got any quick fires?
Quick fire. I mentioned very briefly the other day a new series on the BBC with Richard E. Grant, who's an actor I love, but this is Richard E. Grant just being Richard E. Grant. It's really a travel series meets a story about writers. It gives him an excuse to go round, most particularly Europe, talking about his favorite writers, his favorite books, but from the locations that they are all about or where they
I like that.
And it's nice. He is so engaging on camera.
What a gig.
He's so well read. I mean, he's a complete enthusiast. He couldn't carry that off unless actually he was a real enthusiast and a real reader. And that absolutely comes across. You learn a lot about the writers. You learn a lot about the places. It looks beautiful, and it's Richard E. Grant at his best.
It sounds a little bit like the Great Railway Journeys with Michael Portillo.
It is a bit like that. And it's when Richard E. Grant was not getting a massive amount of work a few years ago, he started doing a series about great hotels around the world.
Yes.
I remember that, yeah.
And actually, at the time, I thought, why is this eminent actor doing this work? But that aside, they were very, very watchable because he's so nice with people. And he really gets the best out of them.
Did you see him? He did a great documentary about Poirot and Agatha Christie. It was very interesting.
Ah, that I didn't see.
Yeah,
no, me neither.
Being a big Agatha Christie and Poirot nut, as anyone who knows me well will tell you. He did this. It was a very good documentary.
He's always worth watching, and that's on BBC 4, and it's called A Right, as in WRITE, Right Around the World with Richard E. Grant.
Very clever. Love it.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
Excellent stuff. Well, Chantal, thank you so much as ever, as always.
Welcome back.
Bienvenue. Thank you.
Have yourself a great week, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Au revoir. You see, I'm just being
weekend.
international. I'm just being really international here with au revoir.
Abiantot.
Au revoir. Happy viewing.
And to you. Thank you so much.
Bye, Chantal.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There we go. Well, look at that.
She's a globe trotter. She
quite.
Trots the globe.
I can't believe it. We've just managed to whiz past another 3 hours, but thank you very much indeed to our sponsors, Simon Wardman-Freed and Jeff Fitzpatrick. Thank you very much indeed to both of them, and also have to say thank you to the marvellous Kev Orkian. It's fantastic he was today. And of course, Chantal Rickards. And let us not forget, of course, we have to say thank you to all of you for your comments. You've been keyboard warriors today in a very good way.
In a nice way, in a positive,
very good
lovely,
way.
engaging and proactive, pro-life in every sort of way. Enthusiasm. Thank you. Enthusiasm is the key to so much. I really think
absolutely. Well, enthusiasm is also the key to this program as well, because we'll hopefully be back on Monday. So if you'd be kind enough to join us then, we'll see you Monday midday. Have yourself a very good weekend. Bye-bye.
Stay safe, everyone.